Entering the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, the third annual Custy Awards. If you're looking for previous versions of the Custy Awards or all of the Cust Corners, please go to Mayo Media Network right now and subscribe. They're all up there. Well, not all the Cust Corners, but all the Custies and some vintage Cust Corners. They're all still a part of a rollout. And if you just enjoy Cust Corner or the Custies, hit the description to this podcast or video, and you can find its own feed, Cust Corner, the audio feed on Apple, on Stitcher, on Spotify, wherever it is. Please, we need your help. Go rate it 5 stars after you subscribe and smash the like button to this video. And in the comment section, you tell me the most Cust thing that has happened so far in 2020, because these are the 2019 awards. We like to push it like a year, so we all kind of forget about what happened, then relitigate it. On the panel this year, like last year and every other year, Garion Thorne and Geoff Fienberg are both in studio with me. Garion, long time no see.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I just went through like a mini depression thinking about the 2020 Custies. How do you even put a year this Cust into perspective? But yeah, we'll focus on 2019 for a little bit. That should be fun.
Geoff, is there anything that stands out to you so far this calendar year, which we'll vote on in like January, that has to be a part of the Custies?
They're all pretty recent. Well, it's a trifecta. It's Tim falling from space, Tim thinking he could survive the Arctic, Tim thinking he can get 10 yards on 3 carries in the NFL. Those are sort of my leading candidates in the year we are currently running on.
Maybe we'll also see cameos from special guests such as The Coin. Also, Paul Shaughnessy is behind the glass. He will be chiming in from time to time too. No one deals with more Cust stuff than Paul. Isn't that right, Paul?
True statement.
This is fact. All right, let's get to him. The man of the hour. This is his show. It is Tim Andercurst.
Tim Andercust.
That is not my name. And as usual, I reject the entire premise of this show.
But you're choosing to take part in it anyway?
I feel like Socrates in the dock, someone has to provide a defense of himself, even though he knows he's going to be condemned regardless.
I believe that is pronounced Socrates. I heard that in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Socrates Johnson, fan of 1989 in San Dimas.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Let's fire up the first award here. We're starting with, shout out to Rob McIntyre, at RobMCI16 on Twitter for compiling all of the Custies, by the way. Most Andercursed sports take. Already popping to DC. We're going to run through these. You ready, Tim?
Yeah, let's roll. I'm going into this basically ice cold. I've forgotten the various things I've said and claimed and asserted, but I intend to defend them if they're defendable.
I actually haven't looked at these either. I don't think any of us have looked at these. We want to come into these fresh. So number 1, as a part of the nominees, Cust declared Derek Carr to Antonio Brown stack on DraftKings to be a lock every week. Brown is currently undergoing a mental health evaluation and court case after not taking a snap for the Raiders all season. Number 2, Jerick McKinnon. Tim once again touted Jerick McKinnon as a quality fantasy pick this season after last year's debacle. And again, he failed to record a single touch for the second straight year. Poor Jay. Are you back on Jerick this year, Tim?
If the Niners give him an opportunity, he's the best back they have, almost unquestionably.
Well,
Whether they give him the opportunity, I don't know.
Gonna
but
put
he
him
is the
down
best
for
back.
the 2020 trifecta then. That was enough for that.
Oh, this one's Jets related. In week 7 of this regular season, Tim was ecstatic in a messaging thread that 2 of the Jets' top players, C.J. Mosley and Chris Herndon IV, were returning to the lineup. However, their status was reevaluated and they were declared unable to play soon after. Oh, here's a golf one. Geoff, this one's just for us because it helped us win some money. At the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, Paul Casey was predicted by Tim to never be leading by less than 3 strokes. He ended up losing by 3 strokes. Now we're into the good stuff. Leafs Predators. Tim predicted the Toronto Maple Leafs would defeat the Nashville Predators in the Stanley Cup Finals. As of this writing, neither team would end up qualifying for the playoffs. NFL playoffs. Out of Tim's 12 teams predicted to make the playoffs, 8 of the 12, including a Super Bowl picks, both missed. Now, that's just par for the course here. I don't think that one's going to be a winner. Oh, here's one. Tim declared Andrew Luck the steal of our fantasy football draft, Tim. He retired soon after. Remember that?
Yeah, it was like a week later he retired. That was rough.
The Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, Jeff. The Chargers were selected to win the 2019-2020 Super Bowl. They proceeded to have a disastrous, plagued by injuries, bad luck, and contract dispute campaign and finish 4.5 wins lower than their team total.
Can I throw on to this? He also picked Rivers to win MVP. He no longer plays for the team. It was a Super Bowl MVP combo he called for.
Do you enjoy when Garion, do you enjoy, as someone who likes basketball, when Tim makes basketball predictions?
I don't generally, but let's see.
The Denver Nuggets. Tim predicted the Denver Nuggets would win the NBA championship. They lost in the second round. Philadelphia 76ers. Tim said the Sixers would not lose game 1 of their opening round series against the Brooklyn Nets. They did. Tampa Bay Lightning. Here we go. The Lightning were winning 4-0 in game 1 of the first round, and Tim declared the series over. The Blue Jackets came back and won the game and swept the series against the number 1 seed in hockey, despite having the Lightning having one of the statistically greatest regular seasons in history. Jameis Winston. Tim predicted Jameis Winston as one of his other picks to be MVP. He also, Jeff, no longer plays for the team that he did last year.
He actually doesn't have a starting job.
Curse to the bench.
Yeah. Well, that might be a blessing.
Well, Tim, where are you leaning so far with these, do you think?
I think I can make a case for all of these arguments as to why I made them at the time and why, if I could reverse it, I would go back and make the same picks if the outcomes could change. But the Lightning one is definitely the least fortunate pick that I made.
If I had a time machine, I would go back and do it all again the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a man who lives according to regrets. So, I mean, I defend having made the picks based on the circumstances I was in. They were up 4-0. That game was over. How do you give up that game and then lose and it gets swept by an inferior team?
This is your problem, though. You're a guy who goes to the sports book and live bets a team up 4-0 at -2 million. And you're like, how did they lose? Even if they had won that game, it's not like anyone would have been like, great call, Tim, picking that team to win up 4-0. It can only go wrong for you.
He did this when we were doing our live stream for one of the PGA Championship Major, and he declared that the Leafs were eliminated from the playoffs, and then they came back and won the game in real time. It was not great.
Also the Blue Jackets.
They lost the next game, so.
Let's see here. There's more sports ones. Victor Hovland. Tim said Victor Hovland would be the best rookie on the PGA Tour in 2019. Soon after, fellow rookies Colin Morikawa and Matthew Wolff both won events, and Hovland did not. New York Mets. Tim said the Mets would win the World Series. They failed to make the playoffs. That's just like an evergreen Custy.
Yeah. Didn't they their aces get injured soon after he makes those predictions?
Yeah, Syndergaard went down. I think
DeGrom
about
gets no
2
run
months
support
after that. Yeah, but that's been happening for 3 years, Tim.
Yeah, I'm just saying he never gets any run support.
You're going to pick the Mets in 2021, though, aren't you?
No, not necessarily.
Yes.
I think I'll have to shake it up. Might go take the Padres or something. Who knows?
Oh, that's your bet, Jeff.
That's my
Well,
second
they just made
favorite
the
team.
Padres made a bunch of trades. I think the Padres are probably going to win the World
When
Series.
I told you not to date the
Don't
show,
time
I
code
had
this, pal.
one request for you was don't date the show, and you're bringing up stuff that happened literally 20 minutes
He's
ago.
bringing up MLB trade deadline moves on this show.
I apologize.
Did we
for
not?
all
Did
my
we not have this conversation?
We had it before the last show, not before this show.
You didn't think it applied?
That's on you for not reminding him.
I forgot.
Jesus
I
Christ.
apologize.
More Tim terrible takes. New Orleans Saints. Tim said that tragedy would not befall the New Orleans Saints for a 3rd time in the playoffs. The Saints lost in overtime to Tim's arch nemesis Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings in the opening round of the NFC playoffs. The Patriots. Tim picked the Patriots to win the Super Bowl at midseason. They failed to make the divisional round for the first time since 2009.
Yeah, that's a reverse curse, though. I don't even think that applies here, technically speaking.
The Niners. Tim stated during the Super Bowl, the better defense always wins, as the 49ers were leading the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs came back to win the game.
That was a Cold Takes Exposed retweet. I should.
How many times have you been retweeted by Cold Takes Exposed now? 8?
But also once positively.
That was true.
That is true.
Throwing
And I just
dirt
want to
on.
put a pin on the the Morikawa and Hovland. The only reason I was sticking up for Hovland is because there's such a Hovland anti-bias on this show that someone had
which
to
is
stick
which is
for it.
absolutely
He
not
was
true.
Literally, that's such a lie because this is when Hovland was young, top amateur at the Masters and was in Butler Cabin with Tiger Woods and then went to the US Open and got rub. So the entire golf world was actually Hovland is going to be the first one to pop. So you're wrong. You're wrong.
Oh, the golf world was. I'm saying this show in particular was all about Morikawa, and I guess you were right because he's a major champion, and you were all about. But the reason I went so hard for Hovland is that I felt that he was getting very disrespectful.
But he wasn't.
in this show.
There was
Never
nothing
was.
negative said about Victor Hovland. We just loved Morikawa
I was
and
gonna say,
Wolf.
in the last 2.5 months, which granted, this is from a little while prior to that, but I feel like Pat and Jeff have said only nice things about Big Dick Vic.
Yeah.
It's
And
very
the one time I
positive
put
we
a
vision.
big
actually
bet.
also had a future on him to win the major that we also bet Morikawa to win, which he
And
did
the
win.
big bet I made this year on Morikawa at the Colonial,
He missed
he
the cut.
screwed me.
Oh yeah, he lost in the playoff.
Oh, is
missing
that
a
when he
2-foot
missed
putt.
the
Right,
short
yeah.
putt?
He missed a gimme that I could have made with my eyes closed.
I don't know.
I think we should do that. We should contact Colonial, go out to that green, give you the same putt, get you to put a blindfold on you. See how often you make it.
Well, more often than Morikawa because he missed it every time.
Jacksonville Jaguars, after having dismissed the Jaguars, finally getting off the bandwagon the year they made the AFC Championship game, Tim picked them to make the AFC Championship in 2019. The Jags starting quarterback, Nick Foles, was injured in week 1. Jalen Ramsey demanded a trade and was sent to the Rams. The Jags stumbled to a 6-10 record, and now they have no players left on their roster with all their defensive players leaving and Leonard Fournette getting cut, Tim. So that's fantastic news. That is all of the Cursed for the sports category.
You really try to break down where it went wrong for the Jags as you saw all those great players that were on the roster that are now no longer on the roster. And it seems like I've identified
we can pinpoint a moment.
the moments.
Well,
No, I am not a cyclone that causes a wake of damage.
Can I-
I can specifically remember the season prior. This is something we covered on the second annual Custies, but Pat and I both going all in on the Jaguars, and Tim thought they were the worst team in the world. And then I can remember him getting in on the Jaguars when everyone was getting off, and that also being very easy money last season. So thank you again for your Jacksonville Jaguars takes, Tim.
So do we give our favorite?
Yeah, so you guys pick a winner. I have the fan vote here. Over 7,000 votes, I believe, were tabulated in this year's
There's
Custom.
Okay,
no way
people might-
there's no way the Chargers doesn't win. I
No.
just know the way this show works. The
People
Chargers is
might
going to win,
anticipate
but
me
the
picking
Lightning
that.
should win.
People might anticipate me picking the Chargers,
Yeah.
but the Chargers lost all the 1-score games they won the year before, and it flipped their season. That happening shouldn't really be that crazy of an outlier.
I agree.
For
but
me,
I think like Tim's saying, if I had to pick what I think should win, it's definitely not the Chargers.
it's not.
But
Oh, you
is
think
it- is
the
there
do I
Chargers-
think people will vote for the Chargers just because it'll make you squirm on
Can
the
I
show?
throw this out here?
Possible.
The Chargers is not the winning
Yeah,
vote.
I
Okay,
think
it's
it's
not.
Andrew Luck
Luck
or
is
the
winning.
Lightning.
Luck is the
Andrew
obvious
Luck
choice.
retired.
He
Like a
retired.
star quarterback retired.
A guy who's been playing football his entire life, whose dad is a not only
XFL commissioner.
he's a guy who loves football so much. He's the XFL, or he was before The Rock was, but
Is The Rock the XFL
yeah,
commissioner?
No, but he bought the
yeah.
I thought
He's the owner.
Oh, he's the
owner,
that's true.
operator, commissioner. I'm sure.
Giver of
Being a
rock
captain of a
bottoms.
Yeah,
Like
he's
being
still-
a captain of a
Yeah,
garbage
I vote
barge.
Luck.
Yeah, but Luck is he just woke up after Tim cursed him and decided I don't like football anymore. That is so clearly the most Andercurse person.
That also happened during a golf event as well, that Tim has been really big on young gun, Kevin Streelman, who's like 42. And Streelman said in a press conference after one of his rounds at a recent tournament that he was thinking about retiring after the round. It was so bad.
Okay, but let's put the point that I never ever said he was young or a young gun. You just assumed that I thought that.
You said
That's what I'm
you said
talking
young gun on the show.
about. No, I didn't.
Tim,
you guys
you
said,
very
"Does
clearly
he
have no
think-"
recollection of anything you've ever said.
I remember seeing the clip, and it was Jeff saying, "Does Tim think he is a young gun the way he's been talking about him this season?" And that was asserted without evidence that I thought he was a young gun. That's what happens on this show, people. This is why I'm here, because my words get twisted and distorted, and I have to defend myself against these attacks.
Paul, do you have any thoughts on this, or do you think this one's pretty chalk city this time around?
I'm not gonna lie, I think it's ridiculous that it's not the Chargers because the emotional state that Geoff was put into last season.
Yeah.
Like, there is that image of him I think it was like week 8, week 9.
There's the Melvin Gordon fumble, probably the week 8 show, because that was probably week 7.
I think the emotional damage that Geoff had to take last season should have vaulted the Chargers, who were supposed to be the Super Bowl winner last year, according to Tim. That should have put them into
to me,
first.
it's
I'm
Every week, Paul would send either me a message or a DM saying, apologize.
Apologize to Geoff.
Apologize to Geoff.
And he never apologized.
Tampa Bay is also, like, if you deep dive how dominant a team they were, and then up 4-0, to me, it's Tampa or luck. That's what the fans will have voted.
So,
But one team could just be more truculent than the other, and that turns the whole series around. That's what I know about hockey.
well, the fans have voted on most Andercurse sport. In third place, with 19.6 of the vote, Geoff's Los Angeles Chargers. In second place, with 24.2% of the vote, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the first Custy Award of the third annual Custies goes to Andrew Luck with 27.8% of the vote. Tim tries to claim that he retired like a week later. He retired like legit 2 days later.
Yeah, I remember I was playing blackjack at the casino and my phone started blowing up. I had to step away from the table because I hadn't turned it off. And it was just tweet after tweet about Andrew Luck retiring and what have you done?
Do you have notifications turned on?
I did that day. I usually don't. I usually have my phone on the silent mode, but I hadn't that day for whatever reason.
On the silent mode? Is it like the Google?
I love when his menchies blow up.
All right, good start. I feel like we got through that. 16 minutes on one category. That's like a new
And that's a
efficiency.
long category,
It's
I
a
feel.
efficiency record here. Now, I feel like this one's going to bring out some heated debates here. Second of the Custy Awards, the second Custy in the running for most Andercursed non-sports division. Geoff is already losing it.
I'm reading them. I haven't remembered them in so long.
I'm very excited.
Number 1, Mickey D's, Rotten Ronnie's, McDonald's. Tim declared McDonald's to have the best 2 cheeseburgers in the world, with a definitive gap between its cheeseburgers and the rest. Their CEO was soon fired afterwards after Tim made these statements.
Can I expand on this?
Go for it.
They literally, and I love those cake-like little cheeseburgers. They literally changed their recipe. Also, on these burgers in the last year, where they're like embedded with onions, and I hate it.
Yeah, you have a very specific McDonald's.
You
over
need to be more like my friend who's in his mid-30s, but his mom makes him tacos, and she puts the onions into it. But he doesn't like onions, so he makes her specifically remove all the onions from it after the fact, so he doesn't have to taste it.
It's like this thing now where it's like, I can just order no onions on my burger, but they literally like embed the onions in cooking the burgers, and if you don't like onions, it's a problem, and it just has this odor that I don't want. So not only was this person fired, they literally redid their cheeseburger.
So for the first time ever yesterday, I had a bloomin' onion. Now, I thought that was exclusive to Outback, and I'd never, don't get to have it here. But they have them at other places, and I got to try one, and it was so good. It was like onion rings, but in strip form. You
think deep-fried onions are going to taste good? That shouldn't be a big shocker to you, Tim.
I didn't know what really I was expecting. It was so good. I just want to put a point into that I'm on board with the whole bloomin' onion thing.
Oh, they were waiting for your vote.
And this also continues the trend of Tim not liking things until he actually tries them. Then he's like the biggest fan of them of all time.
Oh, I was never anti them. I just didn't know whether I would like them. I can assert that I do.
What happened to Keto Cust?
COVID has destroyed it.
Fair.
It did destroy it. I couldn't go to the grocery store every day, right?
That's a fair point.
So,
I mean, you could have if you wanted to. If you had enough gumption, you could have done it.
There were signs out front.
Or you could have done what the rest of the world did and logged on and got your groceries delivered.
Well, no, that's weird, and I would never do that.
Why is that weird?
Because it's weird to have other people handle your produce and your ground beef and your eggs.
How do you think
how do you think it gets onto the shelves, Tim?
I then check it myself to make sure this is the avocado I want. This is the can of pasta sauce that hasn't been touched, that hasn't been tampered with, that I want. This is the strawberries. This pardon me, it's very important to me that I pick exactly the right produce and meat and even box goods for myself, because I'm very persnickety about these things. They have to be just so. And I don't trust anybody else to be to my level of specificity. So it's just easier for all concerned, because I would have to start taking stuff back. And how do you even return stuff when you get it from online? Oh, I get home and I see that the label is askew on my pasta sauce. Well, I'm not eating that. That's not, to me, that's not something I want. So who do I call? Do I call up the grocery store and they show up in their little van and they pick up my can of pasta sauce that's defective and give me a good one? Like, how does that work? I have no idea. I don't want to know.
All right.
So I'm just
Tim
going
too
to the
rich.
store.
Yeah, Tim Too Rich is really rearing its ugly head here. But Garion, you have questions?
Yeah. First and foremost, would you not eat a bottle of pasta sauce if the paper label on the outside was askew?
Let me ask you this. If you're going to the grocery store and there are two cans next to each other, one with a label that's sort of off and one that's straight and normal, which can are you taking off the shelf?
What does straight and
You
normal
taking
mean?
the Charlie
Tim?
Brown Christmas? You taking the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, or are you taking the normal one?
Yeah, Tim,
You're taking the normal.
I would like to hear your definition of what is both straight and normal.
A label that isn't sideways or upside down or peeling
I mean,
off.
I personally don't want to label things, but if that's what you want to be here and sit here,
I
and
want
do,
a label that is flat and normal and isn't askew, and I see it all the time, and it drives me nuts.
I'm sorry. You know who you sound like?
Sorry.
You sound like that guy on The Simpsons when Homer got sent to the mental institution who had agoraphobia and he was just smoking his cigarette inside, wrapped in a bathrobe, being like, I just can't leave. Just one day I woke
I
up.
shouldn't even tell this story because it makes me sound crazy, but I have seen on the shelves labels on like pasta sauce or jam or whatever, and it'd be askew, and I pick it up and I move it behind one where it isn't so that other people don't have to see it. I know that sounds crazy. I admit that, but I'm sorry. I just feel better, like I've done a public service in some way.
So you
that
were
other people don't have
almost.
to-
It wasn't so much about you couldn't go to the store during COVID because they wouldn't let you in. It was you were afraid of what you might do while you were in there, because either A, you were going to start touching all the cans of pasta sauce, which you're not allowed to do. You have to take what you touch at this point. Or two, you were going to end up in one of those videos where you're just accosting a stock boy. Because
Which he's done in the past, by the
yes,
way.
but now it's going viral. Wow.
Anyway,
Wow.
my point stands, and I'm right. Not one of you would take off the shelf a can good where the label was askew.
No, but
Right next to it, there was one that
I
was-
believe that, and you're not wrong about that. You're absolutely right. If there was one that had a label that wasn't askew or ripped or anything like that, I would take the one that wasn't. But if one was brought to me and that's what I wanted, I don't care either way. If it had a dent in it, I don't care either way. Sometimes I'll drop a can of soup if I'm getting one. I'll be like, yeah, just put it in the thing. And I'm not doing it to get the 10-cent discount. Just I don't care.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tim,
no, I bring that up to the front.
I'm
I
not.
bring that can up to the front and say, I'm sorry I dropped
Oh.
it. It's dented. Could you please? I'm sorry.
Where do you get this kind of time? You legit sound like my 80-year-old grandma.
Take it. No. Like when I'm checking out, I give them the dented can. Say, I'm sorry.
And then you know what they say? They're like, "Fuck! Now I have to go walk this back to the fucking shelf."
You know what? That's on them.
How is that on them?
Like that, if they want to do that, that's their
They
decision.
don't
I've
want
made
to
the
do it.
ethical
It's their
choice
job.
to not put damaged goods back on the shelf.
Tim, you
if they want to put damaged good, my conscience is clear. I haven't participated in the damaged good display. And I feel awful for the person
You know
who
what?
might not notice because they're in a
The,
rush,
uh,
who picks up that can of Zoodles that has a dent in it and then takes it home and then realizes they've got
The
a dent in
owner
it.
operator-
Imagine being this particular over a can of Zoodles.
The guy that
Well,
owns
but you
Ragu
asked me
appreciates you,
why.
pal.
That's true.
You asked me why I don't want other people picking my groceries up for me and delivering to me, and I've told you why.
Now,
You understand now.
I mean, I still don't. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. It's still insane. But at the same time, like, what you should really be doing, because if you're having problems with produce or fresh food, I think you need to go to the like you're Tim Too Rich. Just go to the fancy place where they don't give you. It's like you go to the
They're
your local.
building a fancy superstore not far from here that's like got this boutique stuff
There
that
you
have
go.
like food the commoners don't usually eat. I'm really looking forward.
The
commoners?
commoners. Yes, Paul, you have a question?
Tim, you teed it up as the guy will have to come and pick it up from you. You're sounding
Well, yeah,
a lot.
am I
You're sounding like a
wasting my-
Karen right now. I'm sorry.
I'm not wasting my gas to bring back a can that was defective that was brought to me. No,
So
that's
you're gonna
on
waste
them.
like
I'm sorry.
2 hours of the guy's time
In your
to,
time.
to re-deliver
I'm not wasting
a
it.
can of Zoodles.
He's being paid for that time.
He's
It's
not
like
being
I'm
paid
wait-
for that time.
Yes, of course he's being paid for that time. Are you kidding me?
I mean, they
He's
would
not
never...
doing it on his lunch break. He's being paid to do that.
All I'm telling you is that you need to start shopping at like Whole Foods, where generally speaking, they don't put out bad produce like the places that you
Yeah,
go
but the
to.
price point's too high.
Well, you
I
know
like
what,
the
Tim?
deals,
You-
too.
And hold on, Tim used the word like he described this bougie store coming to town, but also described it as a superstore.
It is a superstore. It's a Loblaws.
Really sure.
It's a bougie Loblaws. That's what it is. It's based on the bougie ones on Front Street.
Not for the
in Toronto.
commoners.
And,
Loblaws.
that's literally how it was marketed. Is like a Toronto style bistro-esque.
Is that what it said? Does it say Toronto style bistro-esque superstore?
Well, to be fair, when I proposed to my girlfriend, I was planning to do it at the Front Street Loblaws. It's just so nice. But
I had to follow up on this bougie
I didn't even catch that.
superstore.
I was so focused
Yeah,
on
like they have all
commoners.
these like neat meals that like you don't get it. Like, and I'm a fan of eating the pre-made meals at grocery stores. I think they're really good as a rule. I endorse them. Like some of the best chicken wings you will ever get is from a deli counter at a grocery store,
That's
for
not
example.
true.
But
They serve them.
so
close.
I endorse all of this. They make the pre-made sandwiches are usually top notch. There's this flatbread pizza that I have been eating recently that comes from one of the grocery stores, which is again delicious. So I support that. So the idea of like having more like fancy, sophisticated ones, but also from a normal place with normal tasting foods and ingredients, I'm in on it. I'm
You
100%
think the
there.
damn commoners are staying out of Loblaws superstore?
Oh, I don't know that they'll go to this one. Then, but who knows? I hope they do. I'm glad that a superstore will exist for the commoners to go to enjoy this sort of like
I can't
stuff
even
that only those
so-
elite Torontonians, in their loft apartments who drive out to Ajax for a farmer's market to get some white carrots can enjoy.
That sentence literally makes no
so
sense.
much to process there.
But I do like
I tried
how
to process
you're
all of
talking
it.
about a fancy place that excludes the commoners, has above commoner food that you're going to go to, and you're complaining about your bottle of zoodles.
I didn't say it excludes them. I said it provides stuff that people don't usually get, that the common Joe like myself doesn't usually get.
The
And
common
so,
Joe
like-
doesn't refer to people as commoners, by the way.
Yeah, people who are common like myself.
We haven't even gotten
And zoodles are great. I love zoodle.
The second nominee, which is easily the best
Oh,
nominee.
nice. Good work, Jeff.
For you,
Good
buddy,
work.
award show. Thought I'd make it
DC.
good. Yeah, in
round
honor
of
of you.
DCs for everyone. All right, so
I guess that's not helpful for the audio listeners, what I was giving him props for.
we're off the rails here. We got
Give those
officially
5 stars, people.
Yeah,
we need the 5 stars.
We gave ourselves a slap on the back for being
Yeah, we
really
gave
on the
ourselves
ball in
the-
the first one, and then we just went off. the
Pat
rails.
did preface
Now we're
this
way off
particular
time.
category by like, this one is going to go off the rails.
Well, this one is, 16 minutes for the first category is pretty good. Sports are fun, but these Tim takes are ridiculous. And also, again, Cust Corner on its own feed, along with the Custies. Search Cust Corner wherever you download your podcast. Subscribe, leave a 5-star rating. If you already subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience, you can catch it there first, then it will go up on the feed afterwards. Number 2, after McDonald's in the non-sports Andercurse category, Mr. Peanut. Tim has long hailed Mr. Peanut as a pillar of coolness amongst brand logos. He was murdered earlier this year. And you know what, Tim? You murdered him.
I did no such thing. The most ridiculous, backfiring, foolish campaign of 2020 by far is the Mr. Peanut attempt to both murder one of the most, other than like Ronald McDonald and like Tony the Tiger and Sam the Toucan, probably one of
Sam the Toucan.
one of the 4 or 5 most famous
Toucan.
food mascots in the world. To murder him at the Super Bowl and to bring him back as a baby peanut for no reason other than to infuriate the fans of Mr. Peanut stuff
Yep.
was foolish. Then, like 5 months later, they have to pretend that he's 21 years old so he can get a drink.
Why do they have
When
to?
it was
Well,
5
hold
months ago.
on. How come they have to pretend that? How do you know how Peanut's age?
He called himself 21 years old. Year.
Yeah, but
Imply-
in Peanut years, it's like how you can say your dog is like 49 years old in dog years.
Honestly, I hate that new Peanut. I hate him. And one of the things that does give me joy is that when you, and Paul brought this up to me, when you go to the new Mr. Peanut Twitter account, and you see the
As one
replies
does.
to everything he tweets, they are very, very negative.
So
And it's like, okay, I'm not the only one who's infuriated by this.
So I think the thing that stuck with me about this, aside from just seeing Mr. Peanut was murdered, which is my favorite sentence ever, a pillar of coolness.
He is with the top hat and the monocle
Okay.
and the walk.
No.
Oh, no, hold on.
Okay,
No, hold
but
on.
you've already said that you live in a world where Tony the Tiger exists. Infinitely cooler. Also, Chester Cheeto wears sunglasses, Tim.
Yeah,
He
he's
wears
fine, I guess.
sunglasses.
What about
I
that
think
time?
he's-
What about that time that Mr. Peanut went to the opera, Tim? Do you remember that? But he couldn't sit in the seat.
Because he couldn't have a waist down in front.
So that's
But
number.
that's the sort of those are the sorts of places he'd go, right? Because he was sophisticated. He's a sophisticate.
He's not a
And,
commoner.
a part of the inner circle, a part of the cultural elite. Everyone loved Mr. Peanut, and they murdered him.
Men wanted
And
to be him.
I
Women
have
wanted to
bought-
be with him.
Honestly, I haven't.
Men
bought a
wanted to
plant-
be with him too. Let's be real
That's,
here.
that's true.
I haven't bought a Planters thing since.
Tim thought.
Remember when Tim was buying up all of like the
Items.
planter stuff after he was dead, thinking he's sitting on a gold mine over here.
Yeah, I bought a can of almonds and a can of peanuts, and then a friend of ours has this really cool antique-looking glass etching jar of Mr. Peanut, but he wanted an exorbitant amount of money for it. I thought it'd be a big collectible, so I really thought about shelling out the bucks for it, but I didn't.
How much
So,
was
yeah,
he
I kept
asking
these
for
things-
it?
Too much.
How
Doesn't
much?
matter.
How much? Say how much?
Couple $100, I think.
I just enjoy the thought
So I
process.
thought these cans of peanuts would be really, really valuable in time. Not today, not tomorrow, but in 20, 30 years from now, I'd have something really valuable and collectible. Sort of like I have some Coca-Cola merch.
Yeah,
that one day will be
it's
really,
just
really valuable.
it's just like your Batman Forever cup that you're still holding on to that from McDonald's.
It's a
You think-
glass mug from McDonald's, and one day that's going to be really valuable, okay?
Again,
The
I
point
just
is I bought... Anyway.
I just like the thought process of someone in like February of 2020 going to a store and buying out all the non-perishables. And then like 2 months from then, your friend being like, "Oh, that was a really good idea. What foresight from Tim to buy all these nuts?" And he's like, "Oh no, I did it for different reasons.
They can't be opened. We can't open them.
Can't be opened."
Okay, next one on the list. Chef Boyardee. Tim declared Chef Boyardee to be top-tier Italian eating. Soon after, the corporation suffered a health standards disaster, resulting in the recall and reassessment of over 3,000 pounds of Chef Boyardee, Tim.
What do you want me to say?
You
They still
cursed them.
make top. I don't agree with that. There's no curse, and they make fantastic stuff. I put their ravioli up against anybody's ravioli, and I think they have a fighting chance.
The Night King. Oh, there's a spoiler alert attached to this one. Tim said he would be shocked if the Night King was killed at the Battle of Winterfell. Tim, did you curse season 8 of Game of Thrones?
Oh no.
I think they did a pretty good job putting out a below mediocre product on their own. They didn't need my help.
1917. Tim called 1917 the best film of the year and then declared it free money to win Best Picture in the betting odds. It lost to Parasite.
I mean, the first part of that statement is true. It was by far the best picture of the year. That back on it, we're going to agree culturally that yeah, that was dumb. Why did we give it to Parasite, which is a
Awesome movie.
perfectly fine movie and deserved best foreign film, but you have all your work cut out for you to try to make the case it's better than 1917. If you like movies, if you don't like movies, if you like the story of giving a South Korean movie the best picture, great. Okay, you can make that case. But in terms of just cinema, in terms of the best picture of the year, 1917 was simply a better film top to bottom.
You know, who
I
would
feel like
really-
Tim is in a vast minority with this opinion.
Yeah, I would also say, you know who really would support the killing of an aristocratic peanut? The writers of Parasite.
This is true.
So we really come full circle here, which is nice.
Final one, Cats. The film Cats, which Tim was hyped for.
I thought that was going to be great.
Yeah,
Tim
we
said
know.
it, quote, looked great, and he was very excited to see it. It bombed at the box office and sputtered to 20% on Rotten Tomatoes and even won some Razzie Awards, Tim. Not the box office success you thought.
No, I was about as wrong could be about that. And yeah, I have no defense.
Did
other
you,
than I thought
did
it
you
was going to be awesome.
see Cats?
Not at the theater because I had gotten such terrible reviews. I was like, I guess I'm not going to shell out the money to see that. And so I didn't. And yeah, it's terrible apparently.
I see. How do you
But-
know? You haven't even seen it.
I sometimes you can learn these things culturally through osmosis. You don't need to go yourself.
Like that Parasite was better than 1917?
I didn't love Parasite.
That's-
I like Snowpiercer better than I like Parasite.
Okay. Most Andercurse non-sports. Garion, what do you think ends up taking this category?
As much as cats might be the biggest curse.
It was relevant to the time of these voting, too. Remember
yeah. I'm still going to go with Mr. Peanut. I just think it's so specific to Tim.
that. Geoff, what do you think?
For me, the McDonald's hits home because they actually changed the burger, but the death of the CEO, the fired CEO, which is implied in the ballot, probably doesn't move any needles. So that one had a personal impact on me because I loved those little cheeseburgers, and I don't even eat them anymore. But I gotta say, Cats.
Okay.
I mean, that thing
Cats
was like a iconic pop
Bomb.
culture.
They didn't even finish the CGI.
Yeah, it's like an iconic pop culture thing at this point. And Tim being a king of self-proclaimed maven of pop culture, I'm going to say Cats wins this vote.
Cats finishes off the podium in this category. Coming in at number 3, 1917 with 18% of the vote.
Really?
Coming in second with 20% of the vote, Chef Boyardee. And number 1 with 42% of the vote, Tim murdering Mr. Peanut.
I did not murder him. They murdered him. I don't know how the people at Planters sleep at night, knowing what they did to the people. Those who loved Mr. Peanut, like were big fans of Mr. Peanut. We haven't gotten over it.
Tim, you may not have meant to, but you're a murderer. Mr. Peanut, Roger Moore, John B. Anderson.
Oh, I forgot about Roger.
All on the wall. Of Tim. You're like Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison just crossing the names off the list.
Well, except he crosses the names off of people he's not going to kill, right?
Tim
I assume he would cross off the people he has killed after that point.
Tim actually thinks like it affected their market share.
It actually did
Oh,
more for their brand than
it was
anything, because when was the last time Planters was
Like,
in the
because
news?
Tim has decided not to purchase Planters anymore.
So
he
no one
thinks
does.
other former Planters lovers have joined him in this crusade.
They get together on Tuesdays.
All right. Next category. Most reverse curse thing of 2019. Number 1. Tim guaranteed the Washington Nationals would not win the 2019 World Series over the Houston Astros and said he would be devastated if that were to occur. Obviously, the Washington Nationals did win against the cheating Astros. The Tennessee Titans declared to be, quote, nothing, and, quote, sunflower seeds are better than them. The Titans made the AFC Championship game.
I have no memory of saying that.
Why would it be that specific?
I don't even know what that means. I don't know why I said that.
Kentucky Derby. After a controversial 2019 Kentucky Derby, Tim
That was a robbery.
guaranteed they would not reverse the final placings of the race where Maximum Securite crossed the finish line first. The results, shortly after, were then switched, awarding the first place ribbon to Country House, something Tim would one day like to live in. The Kansas City Chiefs. When broached on why he was so down on the Chiefs, Tim stated he was, quote, tired of picking them to win the Super Bowl and having them fail. They finally won the Super Bowl. Tim predicted the Vikings would crumble and miss the playoffs in the midst of Week 16 NFL season, saying the Rams would defeat the 49ers and would take the Vikings spot. The 49ers defeated the Rams, allowing the Vikings to keep their playoff position and won in the first round after Tim picked against them again. The Buffalo Bills. Tim picked against the Bills on a consistent basis from weeks 9 to 15, despite predicting them to have a strong record in the preseason. The Bills only lost 2 games in that span, and in the wildcard round, Tim reversed his stance against the Bills, and they lost. The Los Angeles Rams. After being down 13 points in the 18 to 2019 NFC Championship game. Oh, I was with you live for this one. Tim declared the game over. What happened then, Tim?
The most vicious robbery of all time.
How is everything the most vicious robbery of all time when you seem to make some sort of statement?
I don't know. Bad luck, I guess.
Are these ones making you sad?
Well, I'm just thinking back on how I think I should have been right on all of these, and none of them broke my way.
LSU Tigers. Tim predicted LSU would not make the final of the NCAA National Playoffs. They had one of the best seasons of all time and won the national championship. Tim, what do you think is going to win most reverse cursed?
That's a good question. I guess Kansas. No, the Nationals. I've been picking the Nationals consistently much more than I've been picking Kansas City. And given the fact that they went up against a team that was the biggest cheater in a sport in 100 years, like the Ben Johnson of baseball, and still beat them somehow, it's pretty impressive.
Well, what do you think that the common denominator, Garion, was to overcome a cheating team?
Probably being reverse cursed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
If I had to guess. This is a tough one, actually.
It's separated by less than a point.
Yeah, there's no runaway here.
I feel like a lot of years
LSU
we've
could
had.
get love?
Yeah, maybe. A lot of years we've had just like such an obvious winner in this category.
Like
but I
La
feel
La
like,
Land.
Yeah.
Or Jordan Spieth.
Exactly. So I feel like the Nationals.
No.
World...
They didn't win this award. It's people who succeed.
Oh, yes, that's
despite
correct.
me being against them.
The Jags won this.
Oh, the Jags won this last year. That's true. But again,
And the Washington Capitals won this, I think, last year.
yeah.
Yeah, so
but
that's
those were such like those predictions happened so early in the season and carried through that it made a lot of sense. Like you not picking the Nationals against the Astros, I'm like, yeah, most people didn't do that. Whatever.
Yeah, but he was very adamant that
He
they would not.
He was. But I just
win
mean we
that
don't
game.
have like one of those where he said something in preseason and the exact opposite happened. But I think the fact that he was so down on the Bills for such a long period of time, based solely on the fact that he kept thinking the Jets would go like 7-0 to finish the season and get into the wild
Almost
card
did.
spot. No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
And
They won like 5 of their last 6 or something.
or something. And
That's
also
exactly-
just the Buffalo touch on this show. I think Bills probably wins.
Jeff, you got any ideas? You said LSU being sneaky?
Yeah, I think LSU could be sneaky because they actually won the championship and were dominant. That could be sneaky. I already know next year I'll be voting for his anti-Webb Simpson heritage tweet.
That was very good. That was very profitable for us.
Yeah,
Yes.
where he literally called out one player before the tournament as burning your money and said player won the
Oh, I won money that week,
150-man
too.
tournament.
That was great.
Hooray.
Thanks for the bucks, Tim. Here are the winners of most reverse curse. In third place, with 18% of the vote, the LSU Tigers. In second place, with 30.8% of the vote, the Kansas City Chiefs. Tim did pick them like every year to win.
It's true.
And finally switched on to the Chargers, who were abysmal, and the Chiefs finally
That
won.
is, they are kind of the capitals of the NFL for him.
I'm
No.
back on them this season, to be fair.
Well,
Number one in most reverse curse, with 31.3% of the vote, the Washington Nationals, who could never in a million years win the World Series. Yet did.
I mean, Tim, you vaulted Howie Kendrick into a place of superstardom, so that took some doing. Good for you.
Yeah, I try not to think about last year's baseball playoffs because like all the wrong teams won in every single round. So it bothers me.
So we have a new category for the Custies this year. And guess what? Doesn't even involve Tim Andercust.
Oh,
So-
nice.
So, we retired the category Tim's biggest rival only because Doug the Pug won. And it was going away. And Tim is still seething every second that you bring up Doug the Pug, who's having a great quarantine, by the way. He's selling masks now. He's in a new Pixar movie. So shout out Doug the Pug. We wish you would come on the show. It'd be great. But to replace that category, we now have a non-fan voted on. So all of us are voting on this. Jeff's biggest rival.
What?
Well, I know where my vote is.
All right, where is it?
So you don't have it on your sheet. So the nominees for Jeff's biggest rival at the 3rd annual Custy Awards. Number 1, Darren Rovell. Number 2, Melvin Gordon. Number 3, a tout who will not be named.
I think that beef has been squashed.
Number 4, Travis Benjamin.
Yeah.
Number 5, Justin Rose. Number 6, LA radio host Martin Weiss.
Oh yeah, that was.
You know when I send you that little thing of like me taking note? I've literally been taking note for the last year there, Jeff.
Yeah.
Like that little gif of, what is it, Ryan from The Office?
There's more. There's more of these.
There we go.
So you think that this is all mean, but then we flip the script one time, Tim, and you're all about this segment.
I think unnamed tout made me almost want to spit out my DC.
I can. You know what? I'm not even.
Oh, there's
sure
more people
which
on this
one-
list. Let me get through the list first. Octavia Spencer, a.k.a. the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. Brooks Koepka, also on the list. And someone named Paige Spierniak is on this list.
Oh,
made,
yeah.
we
I don't
bought-
even remember that one.
No.
You must
As
have
a-
been
as a
Can we
after.
Twitter-
note
as
that
a
Jeff
Twitter
has
piece, I think.
far more rivals than I do?
Jeff has blood feuds with people, as we know.
He certainly does.
I'm very like just loyal to the side. Oh,
The
I'm
thing is,
laughing.
as much as I enjoy many of these answers, there is actually
Yeah,
one
there's-
clear answer.
I think there's a very
LA
obvious
radio
answer.
host Martin Wise.
No, that's great. And I mean,
what was the story behind? I don't even remember that.
I don't know, but I probably dummied him.
Yeah, Tim,
you probably said something offensive about the Chargers, no doubt.
No,
or
no,
belittled
I don't
them.
think it was. I don't know.
Oh.
I made
Have,
that guy.
have you gotten the
I
new
mocked
TikTok?
that guy because he was a LA radio host with like. I took the Tim sort of
He had,
angle
like
on this
2,000
one.
followers.
I mocked his followers. Like, you're a host. You host a radio show in LA. Like
That's fair.
that's literally 100 followers having 2,000. Don't talk to me.
There's an-
Justin, I could go through all. I don't even know which town you're talking.
well, he's unnamed.
That's 'cause
He's
it's unnamed.
for a
the
reason.
one not to be named is the one that we're
No,
talking
there's an
about.
obvious choice though. It's
There
It's
is,
Melvin
but before
Gordon.
I do that,
Oh, I was gonna say
wanna
it's
ask
Darren
Jeff-
Rovell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought
I want to ask
I'm
Jeff
Team
if he's
Rovell.
if he's followed J Ro's new TikTok.
Okay, Rose is just. I feel vindicated on. I feel like I called this thing like you couldn't have called this perfectly. A couple years ago, I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Stop the clock! I've known you since you were 19. Now you're 37, trying to be cool. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. We've come full circle. I could retire it. The guy joined TikTok last week.
Yeah, with the quote that my son convinced me to join TikTok and he was doing videos for his son. I'm sorry you hate father-son relationships so much, Jeff.
This
I can't
is-
wait to see what happens when my kids get older.
I don't
My
think it's
favorite
close.
one that Jeff pointed out was the day that J Ro was with his son during quarantine, and he angled himself in such a way so that Morgan Stanley could be seen in the photo. Like, I was sold. I was like, Jeff, hit this out of the park
Yeah.
on this one. Only the
I hate
biggest
the
phony
worst.
would
He
do
is.
this.
I hate
Hey,
having.
what
Tim's
if someone
full
paid you
backing here.
$10 million?
Oh,
No, listen,
I would own it. I would be the shill that I am. I
Which he's
wouldn't
doing.
pretend
He's
not to
doing it
be.
in a fun way. I don't know if he's ever pretended not to be the
no,
shit.
it's not even the shill. The shill has been
Or
an
the pineapple
added.
shirt.
What's wrong with the pineapple shirt? That was a nice shirt.
The shill has been an added like aspect of since I started a crusade. It was I could show you pictures from a photo shoot that literally drove me nuts. We've known this guy too long for him to all of a sudden.
I don't get why it bothers you.
It's not bothering me.
It
I
really
notice
seems to
things,
bother
so I
you.
call it out. I just call it like I
And
see
you're
it.
still calling it out over a year later. Like, why
He
did
went
why-
on TikTok. I win. He's not a rival. This isn't close.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're heated at all. Is that because he doesn't consider you a rival? It's a one-way rivalry?
None of these people consider me a rival.
I don't know. LA radio host Martin Wise
yeah,
might.
he might
That,
actually.
that one
yeah,
might. That one might.
And Mr. Rovell has you blocked on the Twitter.
I have an idea. I don't even want to ruin it by giving it away publicly.
Okay, then don't.
An
The
unnamed
correct
idea.
answer to this is Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
He's the only person about whom we've had to bleep out multiple statements that were made about him on this show.
Which is unfortunate because people assumed I said way worse
yeah.
things.
Yeah, that's
than
half the
I
fun of beeping
actually
stuff
did.
out.
That's a tough one.
Although some
I-
of them were
well-
very justified.
I didn't
Yeah, I
think
mean,
one
listen,
of them
they
was
were bad.
justified, but I also
were-
don't want to repeat it because I might have
No.
a
Good
different
idea.
opinion.
They were bad, but
Okay,
perhaps not as bad as
it's
you think.
Rovell. I mean, he's just out there for the world now.
Yeah, I think your rivalry with Melvin Gordon is a lot more personal.
There has to be something specific to a rival and the other person. Like, there has to be, like, everybody hates so and so on Twitter. Well, you're not a rival with that person. Everybody dunks on that person.
But I
there's
can't
Like
be
you?
Rovell's
No,
got
I
over
mean-
1 million followers. I will, because by the time this, oh no, it's gonna air soon. Whatever. It's not even my
be
original
back to
idea,
reveal it.
so I
Je-
can
I mean,
just
we'll
share
break
it.
it right now. Jeff has been hired by Action Network and is now doing a show with Darren Rovell every single week.
No, I'm not. But I would call it like I see it, and I feel bad for good people at Action that get like bubbled with him, but they have an agenda that they'd rather just
Make money?
Everyone's looking at the circus. But this guy is undefeated in horrible tweets.
He gets dunked on a lot.
It's not just me. There's people who are like, I know I'm me and I'm weird and I own my weirdness and I'm incredibly self-aware, unlike Tim. I think I am.
You're not self-aware.
But there are people that I deem that I'm confident are way smarter than me that like go at Ravel.
Yeah.
So I know he's an idiot. This Melvin Gordon thing hit an absolute peak this winter when this guy literally during quarantine could not take a day off from calling out the Chargers. And that drove me absolutely bananas. This guy lost his job to an undrafted free agent. This guy was offered more money by the Chargers last year. The Chargers tried to do right by him, and he completely overplayed his hand. So for him to say anything negative about the team walking out the door, I was having none of. He's an attention-seeking behavior clown. God willing, I'll get to see this. I don't want to say that word. No, now you think it's a way worse word than it actually is. It sucks. But I do not want, God willing, this little boy I'll get to see this guy at like an amusement park and follow him on a ride. I'll be escorted out.
Oh, this is
Jeff,
like your
don't
fantasy
follow
that you're on the
anybody
same
around.
flight.
As Eli, somewhere we're like we're in line for the bumper cars. I'm behind you. You can't go anywhere. I got this idea because I had an incredible experience at Disneyland once when I followed Chad Pennington onto a ride. But he took all my questions and it was a great. You got 40 minutes. There's nowhere to go, bro. We're waiting for Space Mountain. What are you gonna do? So that's the germ of this idea. I need 5 minutes. I need Melvin to answer my questions.
So the segment is 5 minutes with Stalker Jeff.
Yes.
He'll pop out of a bush and ask you questions for 5 minutes.
Well, I told
He's
you
bitter-
when Philip
he's bitter,
retires,
Pat, that you
I
got
want
to
to
interview.
watch him coach a high school football game in Alabama.
Tim's right. I did get to interview Melvin Gordon.
You did, and he proved how dumb he was to you.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. He just showed me his social insurance number.
Smart guy. As for Ravel,
I had to tell him, I was like, guy, you probably shouldn't be showing people that.
I'll put it out there because it's not even my original idea. I think I saw someone do this with something else, with someone else, but I want to just turn it into...
It's not sex with a horse, is it?
Ravel? No. I am going to have a t-shirt made of the image of my home screen when I try to visit Ravel's Twitter page. Like, I'm going to make a t-shirt with the image of I've been blocked by Darren Rovell. Because you're not doing the internet properly unless he's blocked you, and I mean that.
Jeff just broke the fourth wall.
I looked up Martin Weiss and I looked up that drama. It's not gonna win anything here. But
Was it good?
Oh, it's good. He's making fun of like a chip to dip reference in the guy's bio here.
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff. It's a real piss.
It's all a memory. This was during some late night President's Cup, so I was like up all hours of the night.
So are we concluding that Melvin Gordon is the winner of
I
year
think
one of
he
Jeff's
has to
biggest
win.
rival?
No
think
one.
he has to
Yeah, he really angered
This year
me.
he wins.
Well, it's
but
going to be
Rovell
different
would
when
be-
Jeff pops out of a bush and talks to Rovell, and then they become best
I
friends.
feel like Ravel would get the historical winner, but this year Melvin.
If you
Gordon-
have
This isn't a
over
lifetime
one-
achievement. This is a
If you have
single-year
over
award.
1
lifetime
million
achievement.
followers, like how can I be a rival?
I think you're selling yourself short.
That brings us to the next award. Back to the Custies.
Thank you for that.
That's all Paul. Paul was the brainchild behind that.
I
entire
know.
thing.
I appreciate that. Thanks for some great memories, Mr. Weiss.
Worst take. Factually incorrect. Diet Coke flavors. Tim stated that Diet Coke's new flavors have been a quote failure due to due to a rollback of a few of the many flavors that were brought out. This had little bearing on the popularity of the flavors, as companies often roll out a variety of flavors initially, then focus on supply of those flavors once they see which ones are being most purchased. The Coca-Cola stock has also risen significantly since the adjustment in brand focus, further proving Tim's opinion to be obsolete.
But actually, coronavirus has proven me to be 100% correct on this because because of aluminum shortages, companies are only able to produce the most popular brands of pop right now. That is, you see signs at the grocery store, at least in Canada, saying exactly that. The only Diet Cokes you see are regular Diet Coke now.
Yeah, I can buy. I can buy. Tim, just because you need to go to like one of your fancy supermarkets and buy some high-end Diet Coke.
You can only find cases or flats of regular Diet Coke now because because the shortage has proven, like, revealed preferences. When the push comes to shove, what is it that people actually want, despite what they say they want? What they actually want is regular DC, not flavored.
But
DC.
that's not what the argument was. No one said that Diet Coke wasn't popular. You just said that these other flavors weren't popular.
They aren't
but
popular
as soon as they introduced them, the stock went up.
But they were so not popular that they aren't still being produced in this moment.
Well, they are
That's
being
my
produced
point.
in this moment. You're just not buying them.
I still think my favorite story.
I'm right. I'm
from
objectively
this
right.
year-
You're not. You're objectively wrong. This is
I know,
factually
it's not
incorrect.
even a debate
It's not though,
anymore.
Tim. You
Evidence is
said you didn't even go to the grocery store for one thing.
I go
Two,
to the
I can buy them upstairs in 30 seconds right now. That's not true.
There might be some
That's
loose
not.
ones.
What do you
won't
mean a
find
case of them?
Might be loose
Were they ever
ones.
selling cases of the flavored Diet Coke?
Yes, they were.
You buy
They
the
were in
4-pack or the
8-packs.
8-pack.
Yeah, it's
which
like
I
4.
still
You
buy
can
right
never,
now.
Yeah, they
No,
would
you
only
can't.
sell them in
Yes,
the 4
I
or
can.
8s.
No,
yeah.
you can't.
Jeff, can we?
Yeah, for sure.
There's a Shoppers upstairs. You can 100% do it right now. I
No,
was
there's
gonna
just
say
regular
though,
DC up there.
No. The places I've been, they don't have them. So that means it's everywhere, despite the
They
fact
have
that I live in the
signs up.
boonies.
They have signs up.
Yeah, they
son.
just don't
I'm
deliver
saying.
to your place, Tim, because you live in fucking insignificant nowhere.
It's all across the country.
It's not, because
It's
the
not.
3 of
I've
us
never
just
seen
said
those
we can go
signs.
buy them
Us
right now.
Toronto elites are being cola serviced, buddy.
I was gonna say though, my favorite like tangential story about the flavored Coke from this year is when Tim let us know that he would go into gas stations and he would put regular Diet Cokes in front of the flavored Cokes on the shelves so that people would be more enticed to buy regular Diet Coke. And then he would talk to like the 21-year-old kid working the night shift and be like, "So, have you been noticing what flavors are selling better?"
I still do that on occasion. Particularly when new flavors come out, I'm curious to like go right to the source, and these are the people who are seeing the sales, seeing what merchandise is moving and what isn't, and I'll purchase something. And I'll just say, by the way, I see those new DC flavors over there. Are a lot of those selling, or what's the deal with those? Then people are usually very happy that A, you've shown some interest in their work, and B, are happy
Definitely
to talk
not.
about
They're
it.
like, who
Just
the
like,
fuck
get
is
paid
this
minimum
I'm
weirdo?
just
wage.
thinking of that
Leave
guy
me
in
alone.
Superbad who has to pick up the broken beer containers. It's like, fuck my life. Just have to talk to this guy again.
Oh, you
Yeah,
will.
for whatever reason, Tim doesn't realize that everyone who works in that sort of service industry is just out back, like smoking blunts when no one's in the store and just don't give a shit what you have to say.
Well, perhaps you believe that, and that you have a very narrow view of things.
Yeah,
But
do
I
you watch
actually
the
think that most
documentary
people work.
Clerks, Tim?
Most people work hard and have pride in their work, and are happy to talk about it when they're being paid and on the job. And so, yeah, of course, I've talked to gas station attendants or grocery store clerks about, hey, is this selling? Is this not selling? Or if you get real lucky, there's a day where like the people who are like from Coca-Cola, they're like stocking the shelves, and you can get right to the store and say, hey, what new flavors have you guys been thinking? Like that kind of conversation I'm in for.
The delivery guy?
Also, you
Every-
won't get
what-
that with
peop-
self-delivery.
People
You won't get that with self-delivery.
People must want to fucking kill you. Imagine being the guy trying to deliver the Coke. You want to get in, you want to get out. The faster you get it delivered, the quicker you're off. Then you, jabroni Tim, walks up to him. Like,
I would love if people
have
showed interest
yeah,
in my job.
people
if that's
aren't
what it
you, you fucking weirdo.
Okay, but I'm me, and that's the lens through which I understand
yeah.
things.
That's true.
Well, maybe you should. I mean, that's, I guess, in your self-awareness, but you're not very aware of what other people seem to want.
I would think most, I mean, you may be cynical, but I think many people want others to take some interest in the job they're doing and are happy to talk about it for 45 seconds.
It's like when you talk to the produce kid about like ripe avocados or whatever, and the guy basically probably just wanted to tell you to go fuck yourself. Because I've worked in a grocery store. Garion, you've worked in a grocery store. What is the single worst part of that job?
Talking to people.
Yeah, because they're all fucking idiots. With really, really stupid concerns.
Well,
like you.
That's your opinion and that's your experience. But my experience is that people like talking about their jobs if you're polite and if you don't take up too much of their time. If it's 45 seconds or a minute, that's no hardship. Come on now.
That is ridiculous. The fact that you would ask a convenience store clerk about what Diet Coke flavors are selling just makes you seem, I mean, you are an insane person, so that makes sense. But that's just weird behavior.
No, I mean,
I could maybe
understand
understand if he's at the store. And because you see the guy, like the chip guy, the Coke guy, like you see them like
The
kind of doing the
merchandiser.
thing. Yeah, the merchandiser that's got to come and do that. And I could see maybe you ask him, like what
just even
might
trying to
be.
think that, like,
He
how
doesn't,
low on
he
the
doesn't want to
totem pole
answer
he
these
is.
questions.
Oh yeah, of course not. But I don't understand. Just like the lowly teenager, like just there to get through the night, he's paying no attention.
No.
Is pointless.
You got
But
creepy old Tim coming in.
Tim needs his
Weirding him out.
Tim
Well,
getting
almost-
his
Hey, listen,
market
I'm not
research.
the one hiding in the bushes to meet Darren Rovell.
That's true.
But that's the thing. It must this kid must be thinking it's like one of those like secret shoppers or whatever. You know, when you're like a server, you get told like, "Oh, there's a reviewer coming in tonight," but they can't tell you they're a reviewer. It's like Tim coming up to you, it's like, "So, what's been selling recently?" He's got the big camera in his hat.
Like
Cameron.
Homer.
Cameron only had one day left on the job. All right, so number 2, Pam. Tim declared that Pam was a popular alternative to butter for use of cooking steak.
Congrats to Pam for being on this list 2 years in a row.
Well, again, this is not my fault. This is what Pat told me to do. So take it up with him.
I honestly can't believe that was 2019. That feels so long ago.
Well, there's the Pam thing before it that he would put the Pam on the bottom
Yeah.
of the pan
Yeah.
and
Two
then put it
separate-
on the
That's
burner.
true,
and
yeah.
Not to be
started a
mista-
fire.
not to be-
This one, he said that he cooks his he cooks his steak in a frying pan and then sprays Pam on the steak.
No, I remember it. It just doesn't feel like it feels like so much longer ago that's been a part of my life.
Also, not my fault. You're just an idiot.
Told me to put. You said if you're going to cook something on the stove, make sure you use Pam.
For it
Instead
not
of,
to stick, you spray the Pam in so the stuff doesn't stick to the bottom of it.
Well, I
Not
want the
spray-
steak to stick to the bottom of the pan.
You don't spray the Pam on the steak.
Why not? It's butter imitation. Like
No, it's not.
No,
No, it's not.
it's like spraying Pam on asparagus.
Pardon my
Fire-
ignorance.
No, no.
I do that all the time too.
Is
because
it
of that
margarine
glistening
imitation
sort of like-
butter?
Yes.
Yeah,
Which you should also not use on steak.
it's just
Okay,
a
sure.
non-stick
Yeah.
chemical component.
It's literally so your food doesn't stick to the pan.
Yeah.
That's all it's there
but also
for.
like the seasonings stick to it better that way.
Pan or
And-
Pam?
Yeah, we don't have a pan situation here. Why don't you just use like extra virgin oil?
Oh my god.
Whatever.
You use
I
pan.
could.
instead.
I'm not opposed to it, but it's just easier to open up the can and go psst,
It's also ridiculous.
rather than getting the
Asparagus.
cap off the extra virgin oil and pouring it into the cap and
Wow,
then
Brad.
sprinkling the cap over top.
So-
and then
so
You
we-
don't
we-
have to
yeah,
put it in
and-
the cap.
So we've reviewed.
Well, yes, you do.
You don't. So what
Well,
you're
you-
saying is that you need specific measurements for the extra virgin oil, but with Pam, it's just like you're good to go.
Well, you know it when you see it.
You can't do that with the oil.
It's harder because you have less control over
So-
the amount of oil that comes out.
You have less time to measure out extra virgin oil to put on your asparagus or to use for cooking because you're accosting convenience store people about what brands
You
of diet-
told me to use Pam when I cook something on the stove. And so I use Pam when I'm cooking something on the stove. And now you're telling me that you didn't really mean that. Well, I'm sorry I followed your instructions.
Would you still agree with my
Yes.
take of spraying Pam?
Yeah, you gave proper instructions.
Thank you.
He's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. He twisted
Pam-
it in the
Pam-
oddest way possible.
Pam is something you can use in the kitchen. Correct. That doesn't mean you can spray it on steak. That's it.
What's the difference between spraying it on the pan and then putting the steak on the pan compared to spraying it on the steak and
We
putting
don't
the
have to,
steak
we
on
don't
the
have
pan?
to keep doing this. We're just going in circles here.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
It's not. Very good understanding of molecules in science, though. Over hard eggs. Tim declared over hard eggs to be universally considered the best way to consume fried eggs.
Literally a 180.
All I really remember this at the time is when Tim put that out. People messaging all of us about what are over hard eggs. I've never heard of that.
Listen, that's crazy. You people are crazy. I, for one, despise runny yolks. I think they're gross. I don't like eating raw foods.
What do you dip your toast in?
I don't dip my toast in anything. I put marmalade or jam or whatever on my toasts. I don't need to dip it in anything. I'm not a child. I don't need to play with my food.
You steal jam from restaurants, Tim, instead of buying it yourself.
It's not stealing. I bring home what I think I need for my leftovers.
I forgot about leftover toast. It's a thing he does.
Again, I was proven right about that.
He microwaves toast.
It's
Bread
healthier
costs
for you.
$2 a bag, man.
We learned it's healthier for you than regular toast, by the way. So I was right about that. You know?
How is it healthy?
There was a whole report about how cold toast is better for you than
From who?
He found something on the internet once that said that cold toast, because the molecules are together, have fewer calories in them than warm toast. Is what this internet report said. And Tim now takes that as cold toast is better.
Yeah, cold toast has less calories because everyone else throws out cold toast. So it's a calorie count of 0.
Yeah, it's 0. It's like Coke 0. Tim, you just throw that shit out.
That'll probably be on next year's award show.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Running it through your mind.
Over hard eggs are delicious.
Oh,
Try it out.
no.
Toast. On the toast level chart,
yeah.
Tim declared 8G, which probably causes coronavirus, near a maximum level to be the optimum level of toasted for bread. This bread was...
That's awesome. What a great joke. Damn, I wish I had thought of that. I'm going on mute. You can continue.
Okay. This was the bread darkened to almost 94% of the highest degree. He then stated everyone agreed with him on this. Burning your toast to the highest extent possible. To the
Not
fact
the highest.
where you think you might be having a brain aneurysm.
Yeah, it's
No,
true.
not-
It was the
not
94th
quite that.
percentile, not the 100th percentile.
The more you toast it, the sturdier it is, the better it is to hold your marmalade, your Nutella, your jam.
You don't like
your-
Nutella.
No, I don't. But there are people who like it, and it's a thick, heavy spread. So
That's
need
what
the
you know. What? That's how people describe you. A thick, heavy spread.
My point is, as a rule, the more cooked something is, oftentimes, that's not a rule. Sometimes, the more cooked something is, the better it is. That's not always the case.
Tim
but
is a big
sometimes-
fan of burned steak, not medium.
No,
rare.
see, I'm not. I'm a fan of medium steak.
Well,
I
to
don't
be
like
fair,
those.
once you spray a half bottle of Pam on it, how do you know if it's cooking properly?
King Ralph. Tim said King Ralph was universally considered to be one of the best comedic films of the 1990s.
This has been a wrong take you've had for
Well,
the decade
we're going to
I've
put
known
this to
you.
the test, aren't we? When this goes through the bracket,
I
we'll
guess
just see.
I
The
guess
proof in the
that's true.
pudding will be in the eating of it.
Also, Oreos. Tim
True.
said people breaking apart Oreos was, quote, disturbing, and nobody does this.
Yeah,
he
what
also
kind of
said
weirdo does
he
that?
also says he prefers to dip them in orange juice and carbonated water instead of milk.
This is my winner.
Yeah, that's 100% the winner. That has to be the
Well,
winner.
it's
It's
100%
revolting.
good.
Revolting.
That is...
You're right. It's revolting to twist and take your Oreos apart.
That's
Why
like
would you
the
do that?
marketing campaign of Oreos.
I actually
by the way.
They're
love-
made to be a.
I
They're called
do
a
it.
sandwich cookie. You're supposed to eat them like a sandwich.
I-
What's wrong with you people?
I break it apart. I play with my Oreos. I don't give a shit. Sometimes
people
I'll
do.
lick
And
the
look,
insides. Yeah.
I'm not even someone who does it all that often, but I'm still, when I eat an Oreo, I'm like, I have an option to do that, and a lot of people do it, and I respect that.
Tim
That's
doesn't
fine.
respect options. He thinks that only one way is right.
Well, the one way is best. I mean, there are inferior ways to do things.
Then
One
what-
way is best when it comes to eating Oreos.
Yeah,
And
but
also
why does Oreo market it in that way? Aren't you always pro whatever the company markets?
I don't know that Oreo has marketed it that way in quite a long time.
I haven't
I
seen
think-
the Oreos dipping in orange juice or Perrier commercial though ever.
I'll tell you, no, it doesn't even have, I mean, sparkling water is better, but I've just used still water and dipped it in too.
That's
I don't know. I can't explain.
It's
explain.
so
You're right.
soggy.
You're right.
delicious.
You're right. No,
But it's,
you
got,
can't
it's still
explain.
crispy, but also a bit soggy, but also still a bit crispy. It's like I can't explain it. It's just one of these experiential things that once you do it, you're
I
like,
can just see him
wow, this is
sitting in a
great.
room with a glass of still water and a bag of like Premium Plus, and just like dipping saltines into water and sitting there like.
If like the FBI observe that, they think
that's-
you were
yeah.
insane. They would like this
Lock
person
you up.
on Criminal Minds,
Orange
like this
or
guy
give you
would
a
check
show,
every
one of the two.
box.
Orange juice.
Orange juice is great. Who
Hotchner
doesn't
would be
like
getting the
orange juice?
plane fired up.
Well,
I
here's the
think
thing.
that's his name.
We have three winners of this. One of them garnering 34.5% of the vote, one of them garnering 32% of the vote, and one garnering 14% of the vote. What do you think is the winner here, guys?
The Oreos,
Oreos.
because everyone relates to Oreos. People have all broken apart their Oreos, and they don't feel like outcasts for doing so. And they read the final line with the orange juice and the water,
Yeah.
and
It's-
this
it's like
guy
a chill
is
up their
beyond.
spine.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
everyone can relate to this take as being insane and revolting. So that's gonna win.
So, third place for worst take, factually incorrect, toast in burning it. Number 3, 14.3% of the vote. With 39.9% of the vote, spraying Pam on your steak. With 34.5% of the vote, dipping your Oreos in orange juice and sparkling water is going to be the winner of that one, Tim.
I disagree with well, to be fair, 34% vote for, so 66%
No,
of
that is-
people.
that is not how-
this is
not how
flawed
this
logic.
works.
That is flawed logic.
This is not a yes or
Is
no
he
question.
implying that 64% thought this is a normal move?
yes.
No,
Yes.
66% of people looked at this and said, that's not the weirdest or wrong take.
Of a
some ways-
list of weird takes.
So I will consider this sort of a victory.
Of course you
and I will take
would.
my lap.
Of course you would.
People, try it. Of
course you
Just
would.
try it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Get the extra pulp orange juice. Get yourself an Oreo. Dip it in. You can almost scoop out the pulp with the Oreo, right? It's sort
Look,
of like a little device.
It's not
And eat
even.
it.
Oreo-
Fantastic.
Why do I want the
Oreos and-
acidity?
I think Oreos and toothpaste aren't even close to the same thing. I get that, but every time I keep thinking about this, I just keep thinking of that flavor of when you brush your teeth and then drink a glass of orange juice, and that's all I keep getting.
yeah.
That's the only thing I keep getting.
All right, moving on the Custy Awards. The next Custy will be going to the worst take subjectively incorrect. Number 1, beer. Tim declared room temperature beer to be better than ice cold beer.
What a take.
I stand by that.
Mad
What
Max
a
Fury. Shut up! Let me go through the fucking things. Mad Max Fury Road. Tim declared Mad Max Fury Road to be an okay movie. October. Tim declared October to be the best month.
It's not a horrible take.
Baby Yoda. Tim declared Baby Yoda to be, quote, evil and a religious extremist. Cereal mixing. Tim said that plain yogurt followed by hot water are the best items to mix with cereal, and that plain cereal is DFL with milk. Movie snacks. Tim said that fountain drinks, buttered popcorn, licorice, and Whoppers to be the best movie snacks with Sour Patch Kids in dead last. Wendy's Spicy Chicken. Tim said Wendy's Spicy Chicken was horrible and nearly inedible. Candy corn pizza. Tim stated candy corn pizza looked awesome and would 100% eat it. Ice cream flavors. Tim stated vanilla to be the best ice cream flavor with tiger and orange pineapple, grape nut, and rum raisin to be in that tier with cookie dough in dead last. Mobile order. Tim demanded mobile ordering from food apps to be banned to preserve the sanctity of lines. Whopper ice cream. Tim said Whopper ice cream, an ice cream made by
It's a Burger King ice cream.
Chopping up burger.
by chopping up a Burger King Whopper and putting it into ice cream to look good and is sure better than chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. There's a lot on this list. Some of them aren't so bad.
Yeah.
Some
So
of them
let's
are
start with the spicy chicken one, because Garion backed me on that as soon as I tweeted it.
I didn't back you that it's inedible. I backed you that I have found in the last 5 years my love of the spicy chicken has gone down.
Was it because you had too many?
It might be.
Is it
Very
because
well might
just
be.
the game has like kind
I feel
of
like the game's
changed
improved.
and you live like in a robust city that you can get like a really
chicken
good
sandwich?
Oh, yeah.
fried chicken sandwich for like a toonie more and it's like
100%.
far more premium.
100%. But I would also say that like
A toonie is $2 coin.
yeah.
Also, not a lot of Wendy's around here.
That too, but A&W has got a significantly better chicken sandwich than they used to. Burger King has upped their chicken sandwich game. They're not just those long ones that are soggy as hell. Like, yeah, the chicken sandwich game has just improved across the board. I think but mostly it's probably just I'm desensitized. I've eaten so many spicy chickens in my life.
This is very close, by the way, the voting for this one. What do you guys think ends up coming in at number 1?
The ice cream flavor
Yeah,
is something
that's-
that people
ooh.
can revolt. Again, it's something that is very relatable.
Didn't make the podium.
The tiger tail pineapple is elite ice cream is off the podium.
Did not make it. no.
I'm
will
pretty
say-
surprised because of the relatability
It came
of that.
It came in 4th and
Well,
missed
here,
by a percentage point.
On that topic though, and I think a
Beer?
lot of these are like a lot of these custies often go to like the long walks. I think the instant insanity of room temperature beer is better than cold beer is like an across the board terrible take that people are just like, I'm automatically against the person who said that.
Well, go to the United Kingdom where 99% of the time you get a beer. It's
And I would like to
not
say
ice cream.
something I might vote for is the Tim being anti-mobile ordering.
That's on the podium.
Because I win. You don't know the winning feeling when I am making my order, like from my car. I pull in, it's been sent to the kitchen, and then the woman who literally just stepped away from the cashier like a minute ago is wondering why I'm getting my food.
Or even like there's a line of
It's a win,
Tims
yeah.
at a McDonald's that are all scared to use the like order yourself machine. And I'm like, instead of waiting in this line for 20 minutes, I'm just gonna go tap things on a giant phone screen and I'll get my food before you. It's
Tim
amazing.
actually referred to the unfairness of mobile ordering, that like waiting in line for your food is a shared experience, I think was his key
That everyone
word.
No, I
hates.
did it. There's something democratic about it, is that everybody has to go through the exact same experience. It's first come, first serve. No one gets preferential treatment. There's something egalitarian and just about
Yeah,
It
but
is
you
first
just don't
come, first
understand.
serve.
You just don't understand how mobile apps work. It is first come, first serve. I just happened to order 15 minutes ago from somewhere else.
This now seems
No,
like a
you should have to
strange
come in
allegory for
person.
Tim hating the mail voting process.
You should have to come in person to get your food.
I did. I came in person to get my food.
That's
I
why
went and picked it up.
I guess
Go
Tim
in
still
the store
Why?
or go through the drive-through.
I did go into the store to get my food. That's what I did. I just ordered it from home.
Yeah, I ordered
I
it
just
from
find
home.
it infuriating. It's a two-tiered system, and I have no time for
It's
it.
not just 'cause you can't figure out how to use a fucking app.
Guess
Download
what?
the app.
It is democratic. If Garion orders via mobile 1 minute before me, he will be in the queue ahead of me.
It should be based on who arrives first.
Why?
Because that's the way it has always been. And that's the way people want it to stay.
Ah.
And that's the way people want it to stay.
Do they? Because according to this podium, worst take, subjectively incorrect. Number 1, putting yogurt and hot water in your cereal comes in 3rd
Yeah.
with 17.4% of the vote. Number 2, mobile ordering, 17.6% of the vote. Garion knows the people. If anyone ever did know the people, warm beer wins as the worst take.
So-
I
Subjectively
think I'm like
incorrect.
4 for 5.
See, I
Here's the
guess
thing
I
about
missed
warm
that.
beer is that you taste the subtleties in a beer.
Tim, you don't even
far
fucking
more.
drink beer, so shut the fuck up.
Revolting.
Cold beer. If it's
Shut
just too
up.
cold, you
Mute
taste
him.
it.
Mute him.
See, here's the thing. My angle of I thought the ice cream would play well because it's so relatable. That's just me being a child. Well, a lot of like adults enjoy our content.
That's true, yeah.
And they're men and they drink beer. So that one hit them more than, I guess, the ice cream. I don't know about you guys, though. Back to the mobile ordering. I'll literally be in line someplace.
And see if they have an app.
No, well, not only that, but I'll be like, okay, I'm in this line, but now I'm ordering, and let's see if I can get to the front before I'm done ordering. And you see these people. Some people are so stupid.
Well, they're probably out there chatting about what's selling today.
But
I don't- I don't
Somebody
want-
want to lay
I
a
put the work
fish have
in,
been
right?
moving today.
I don't want to be sexist,
I-
but men are so much better at buying bagels than women.
What a very weird take.
No. I observe it. We're done. Like 20. We don't need any questions. We know exactly what we need, how many of what, it's done. The women are all like, so what's this one? And what's that one? And
Jesus Christ.
I have to say,
Bagels,
I don't think
bagels.
I've ever seen somebody purchase a bagel that wasn't at Tim Hortons.
Oh my
We don't have
God.
bagel places. We don't have the bagel places in big cities, perhaps, that you guys. And I have nothing against them. There's one place here. Obviously, Montreal bagels are the best bagels on earth. And there is a place
might
nearby that does a Montreal style bagel. That's really, really good. Better than the ones you get at Tim Hortons, actually.
I can't
It's
believe
awesome.
you
But
buy your
I just don't
bagels
give me
at Tim
opportunities to
Hortons.
buy bagels, is my point. But what I like to do with bagels, and here's a tip for people.
my
If you
God.
want a healthier bagel, and I think you might, cut your bagel in half, cut the inside of the bagel out like a moat. Dig
Scoop it?
out a lot of the bread, then toast it. Then what you have is a trough in each bagel that you can jam full of cream cheese or lox,
So
And
much
this is
healthier.
healthier, is it?
butter,
So much healthier.
Do you know what's
whatever
funny?
you want to put in there, right?
In like
It's
sort
less
of an,
bread.
an elite
finish.
town like us in Toronto, you just buy them and they're called like flagels, which is
Yeah.
essentially like flat bagels that don't have the starch amount
Yeah.
that like the normal bagels have. But this guy purchases bagels at Dunkin' and doesn't know a bagel.
I just feel I love the thought process though that if you scoop out the bread and then replace the part that was bread with cream cheese,
That's
it's
healthier?
Or if you leave a moat full of
cream
melted
cheese.
butter.
I don't think you quite thought that one through, did you, Tim?
That's what I do.
Yeah, it doesn't make it healthier
It's
now,
fine
does
if
it?
you did it, but you're like for people who want a healthier.
I think that's
Well, yeah,
good.
if you want fewer carbs, substitute the bread with a
Yeah,
low carb.
I really feel like you got really confused with this keto thing about what's healthy and what's not for you.
No. If it's keto, it's good for you, and that's the way I've approached. So you want to load it full of butter? That is healthy because it's keto.
Well, you're
and
not
it's-
allowed to have any part of the bagel, really.
Well, no, but if you're going to indulge, you can indulge intelligently, right? And that's what I'm advising here.
Paul, you lost a bunch of weight doing keto. Can you fill Tim in on this one?
Yeah, no, he's nuts. Yeah, eating containers of cream cheese is not healthy for anybody, regardless of your diet. You know that. You know that's true.
I think that should be one of the new spin-offs for Mayo Media Network. Maybe I can get some government funding behind it because it will be very educational. We'll just let Tim give people health facts, and then we'll record him saying them. And him cooking. Tim's cooking show.
Dr.
I am a doctor.
Dr. Tim Andercust gives you the facts about health. And people will watch and be like, what the fuck is this?
Oh.
Be great. Most Cust story. You guys ready? This is one of the best categories. Phone breaking. While checking his quote, Menchies on Twitter, Tim fell on ice and attempted to use his phone to break his fall. This caused his phone to crack and start going wild, opening and closing apps, rendering it to be unusable. There's also an extra part of this where Tim then got locked out of Twitter because he changed his phone number.
Separate story.
Oh, separate
story.
times. Okay. Well, I mean, that didn't even make the list. So I'm going to add Twitter onto this. So you break your phone while trying to check your Menchies on Twitter, as you call them. And then what happened when you changed your password?
No, when I got a new phone number and a new phone at the same time, because I had a old area code, I wanted an updated area code to where I lived, so people who called me wouldn't be calling long distance anymore.
That's not a thing.
It actually is a thing for some people.
Like who?
Anyway,
Who? Like 90-year-olds?
older relatives who might want to call me. I don't. Anyway, anyway, I hadn't updated my phone number, like the recovery phone number for Twitter, and so when I tried to log into the new phone, I couldn't, and they tried to send me the updates to my old number, and I checked it out on Twitter, and there was no way to fix this. And so I even emailed them and got no response. So I had to call my phone provider to switch my new number back to my old number for just like an hour at a cost. And so that I could get all the things updated and my old phone number out of it and the new phone number in, and then get my new phone number added back. And it's a good thing I did because there was no way to fix that otherwise.
Yeah, it does seem like if you do that, word of the wise out there, that it's not going to work out well for you. Also, just don't change your number. That seems to be pretty easy.
Well, that's the other way to go. But if you live somewhere and you have a different area code, if people are trying to call you who are older or have landlines or don't have long distance plans, they're going to incur long distance charges. So it's kind of rude to keep your old area code.
Well, it sounds like the money that you spent to get your number changed back and then back again, you probably could have just given them the money.
Well, you know what? Like King Solomon, I'm experiencing lessons for you so that you don't make the same mistakes. That's why I'm the tribune of the people. I'm here to impart wisdom to them.
Tim has begun hoarding obscure items. This includes plastic straws, hotel supplies that he has stolen, Mr. Peanut memorabilia, and Batman cups.
So I don't know what makes hotel shampoo is obscure.
Or
You
sewing
might think
kits.
It's weird. What makes that obscure? Those are in every reasonable hotel.
That you
room.
take them.
Basically,
That you take
if a
them.
hotel-
And then you order more to take those with you too.
I was in a hotel recently, and
I'm sorry
strongly
for
considered
Tim too rich can't afford shampoo.
I wanted to take the bathrobes home too. I mean, I won't really stay at a hotel that doesn't have bathrobes. It's sort of one of the. That's what I like. Perhaps I shouldn't have said that, but that's actually not even an original take of mine. To be fair, other people have said that before, but that is sort of now a gauge I use. Like, if you don't have a bathrobe in the closet, where am I staying? Like, I wouldn't call a 3-star hotel without that a dump, but like, I ain't staying there.
So Tim, who won't eat a bottle of ragu from the grocery store that has a thing slightly ajar, is just gonna blindly trust that this is a clean bathrobe at a hotel.
Yeah, Tim, you're way too much of a germaphobe based on like past history.
Oh,
to
I
be
would never
comfortable
wear them.
wearing somebody
You would never
else's
wear them, but
bathrobe.
they need to have them.
To me, that's a sign of the type of hotel I'm at.
Well,
wouldn't
this
wear them.
hotel
No,
has some
somebody else's bathrobe.
panache. Panache?
Yeah,
it goes either way.
it demonstrates to me the level of service that I can expect from this facility.
And you want to take those with you.
Well, I was just wondering if I could.
I mean,
and
you can,
but
but the people that you're talking about, the only reason that
Well,
they want to have bathrobes at the hotel is why it's specific to them, is because they do take them.
you can, but there's a charge. That's essentially what I learned.
Yeah, you found that out because they always take it, then get charged after the fact.
No, there's a little note on the hook, or there was a little note saying that please enjoy this robe, and that if it's used, I have enough bathrobes. I don't need another bathrobe. If it's not used, then, or if you take it with you, you can, but there's a fee. And I was like, oh, well, there you go.
How many bathrobes
It's
do you
my
have?
question. I have a couple.
How often do you wear a bathrobe?
Every day when I get out of the shower, particularly when it's cold, to like get you warmed up before you get dressed.
Good.
Or just in the morning if I'm just like
God.
lying around the house on the weekend or whatever. I often wear a bathrobe or whatever.
You sound
they're
like
very comfortable.
this is what my grandma does.
They're very comfortable, particularly in colder weather. Not in the summer, I don't wear it, but in the late fall and winter and early spring, oh yeah, the bathrobe exists for it's economical, right? It's there for a reason. You wear it
That's
to
why
warm
you
up when you
hate
get out of the shower.
summer so much, because you can't wear your giant collection of bathrobes.
I think bathrobes are awesome, and I love them. And I love on a lazy Saturday being able to lounge about in a bathrobe and normal pajamas to like noon or whatever. Like that to me is
Smoke a cigar or a pipe?
no. But that just seems to me a nice relaxing way to be on a cold day.
It's like Tim read in a book from 1870 about how one relaxes, and he just does that. Fact or fiction?
That's fiction, but I actually don't think it's all that weird to have a robe. A lot of people do.
Yeah, old people.
Not just old people,
And
of all
women.
ages.
A lot of women.
No, there's a whole section at the Bay of men's bathrobes. It's not just for women; it's for everybody.
Unisex robes is what you're buying?
No, the robes for there's gentlemen robes, and there are ladies robes, and there are children's robes. There are all kinds of robes.
All right. Fancy Tim. Fancy Tim and his
No, but-
robes.
I'm not fancy. I'm not this Tim Too Rich nonsense.
Oh, I'm
the
sitting,
average
I'm
guy.
lounging around in my evening robe. I had to change out of my morning robe.
He's not too rich. He wanted to have a robe available, but not to use it, just so he knows it's available to him. That is like the definition
That
of Tim
is-
Too Rich.
Whew.
I just think I have standards. I'm sorry. I don't think a $14,000 Acura is a luxury vehicle either. I just have standards. I'm sorry.
That also wasn't the thing. Garion, did you hear about this? That he said
have.
a $75,000 Mercedes was not a luxury vehicle?
Yep.
Well, it's a Mercedes. How could it be?
Is that me? That's my phone. Anyway, let's continue on here. Grocery store meltdown. Tim has had multiple run-ins with grocery store workers, including accosting both a produce worker for avocados and a cashier for lack of chicken wings. We've kind of assessed this
We
one.
covered both that somehow.
Parking ticket. Tim has been terrified of parking tickets ever since acing an exam in college. He received a citation for illegally parking his car.
Forgot about that. That was terrifying. I still am terrified about those.
Yeah, I know. That's what it says right here. Tim has been terrified of parking tickets.
They're not that expensive, Tim Too Rich. You seem to have a lot of money where you can just waste extra money on going to hotels that have bathrobes that you don't even use.
I don't waste time when I have to. On the few instances when I am obliged to travel and I won't stay anywhere that isn't a hotel. Like imagine staying at an Airbnb. I just think I never would do that if I could choose a hotel over it. If you're a group of people renting out a house, that's different, I suppose. But if you're like on your own or with one other person, like the idea of getting no. I'll go to a hotel where there's robes and shampoos and there's a concierge and valet service if I want it, and somebody around the clock available to give me what I need if I need help.
You do need, you know what? That is the first smart thing that you've said. You should really take these people up with their 24/7 help. You need help, sir. Imagine
lost
not
the
wanting to
thread
go stay in a Garion, have you Airbnb'd?
I have.
I've Airbnb'd around the world. Jeff.
VRBO'd or
Have you?
whatever that's
You don't seem
called.
like an Airbnb guy.
I like them both. I got no issues, but I
You're a
don't
hotel
mind
guy,
the
Jeff.
hotel
Be honest. You're a
experience.
hotel man.
You seem like a hotelman.
I don't mind the turnover service.
I mean, I have a certain
Turn down
level,
service is great.
I don't
I
mind
love
it.
turn down service.
I have a certain level of like, I know my girlfriend and a lot of her friends, like they've traveled so much, like, oh, I'll stay in the crappiest hostel, and like I have a higher standard than that. But yeah, I've got no problem with.
Yeah, no, Airbnbs are
Airbnb.
great. One of the great things about Airbnbs, Paul was saying no to
They
Airbnb.
stole $5,000 from me. Trash company.
Well,
Fair enough. The idea.
Paul's biggest rival,
Paul's
Custy's 4.
Airbnbs. The great part about Airbnbs in general, like when I was in Denmark, we stayed in one. When I was in Munich, we stayed in one. When I was in Vienna, we stayed in one. Like you get put in a part of the city where generally like hotels aren't. You get put in like quote unquote a real part of the city. Like generally where
Why is that a benefit?
because you
Then
get
you
to
get,
see
like-
what the city's actually all about, Tim.
Talk to people.
I don't want to see that. I want to swim in the pool, and I want to
Why
watch
even-
what they
why-
have on TV, and I want to be as close as I can to like restaurants and shops, which will be right next to my hotel to
No.
accommodate people like me, and then I can go back to my room.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Those are not the best. Those are not the best. You probably go to the hotel restaurant, wouldn't you?
No, we'd
course, or
find
the
the
hotel
closest
bar.
McDonald's.
Subway.
Yes, okay. I like hotels. I have this dream that I could just live in a hotel. That would be cool to me. It's not practical, but that would just be cool to like live in the penthouse of like a Four Seasons and like that be your home. And every day you're getting new towels, new bedding, it would be and great TV. Anytime you need something, you can call.
What
and-
hotel have you ever been to that has a better TV than you have?
Just like they have all the channels that you want.
So do you. You have all
Yes.
of these things. You have access
I'm
to
just-
fresh towels. I swear to God. You might not, but like, get your mom to do your
Yes.
laundry or something.
My point is, how cool would it be to live in a hotel?
Cool.
I think it'd be really, really cool.
How come everyone who lives in a hotel for any extended period of time always been like, I felt like killing
That's
myself?
not true. There's a lot of people, particularly who are politicians, who live in hotels when they have to go to the city in which the assembly meets because they don't want to get an apartment or a house in that city if they don't live nearby there.
Yeah, that's not by their own accord. They have to go somewhere and stay in a hotel for work. And
How
then they
neat
leave.
would that be? How neat would that be?
It's awful. As someone who travels around, it's awful.
Well, I don't
Tim
like
wants
to
to be
travel
a
around.
quarantined athlete. That is his new.
But not actually doing the
Yeah,
sports.
not play, but he's supposed to stay in the hotel for 3 months and not get to see anyone.
So what do you think is the winner here in most Cust story?
Who?
Big winner.
Probably his phone breaking.
Yeah, phone breaking.
It is phone breaking. Phone breaking, number one, 47% of the vote. Hoarding, 22% of the vote. Grocery store meltdown, 20% of the vote. Biggest Custradiciton, only 2 categories left. Strong tasting foods. Tim proclaimed himself as enjoying, quote, strong tasting foods, but has called McDonald's hamburgers the best hamburgers in the world and vanilla the best ice cream flavor.
I don't see a contradiction. Like, what's a strong tasting hamburger? Like, what would that even?
What would you put as a strong tasting food then? You're the one who said this.
Like red wine that are like the big red wines, or an espresso black, or
So drinks, not foods?
Are strong tasting
Or
foods,
like
is that rich?
dark
Is that
green
I would think,
vegetable.
yeah, I would think
Yeah.
like,
rich foods?
yeah, like duck.
Like dark chocolate
Yeah,
or something?
No,
dark
no, that's
chocolate.
not no. I'm talking about harsh flavors, like dark green vegetables.
No, it says here.
Like Verner's?
Strong.
What do you mean harsh?
The strong things that like hit the umami aspect of your palate.
Oh, too rich, Tim.
Yeah. But he wants to eat McDonald's hamburgers, best tasting food in the world.
And more specifically, the double cheeseburger from McDonald's is the top tier. People get the McDouble. Get out of here. What are you doing?
See, I feel
Get the
like
double cheeseburger.
you're not even
Tim
explaining
Too
like
Rich. Tim Too
strong.
Rich can just like scoff at McDouble buyers because he buys that.
Well, I
extra
kind of do.
slice.
Like, what are you doing? Saving yourself 25 cents to get like a slice less of cheese? What's
Well,
wrong
I feel
with
like
you?
Tim's
Some
also the
people
same
want-
guy who, when we tell him like you don't have to buy a McChicken combo, you can just buy like 3 like junior chickens, and it's more bang for your buck. He's like,
I'm all
"No,
about
no."
that too. I'm with
Oh,
you.
good.
I'm with you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, junior chickens are better than.
Okay, next one. Water. Tim claimed that to consider Aquafina and Deer Park as even the same product is, quote, ridiculous. And he brushes his teeth with bottled water only, yet could not grasp the concept that one would find waters to be different at a water bar.
So, I don't consider a water cooler to be bottled water. So I kind of dispute the terminology.
Well, that's also what you changed it to after you told us that you had a bottle of water that you brush your teeth with.
that I pour out of the cooler, usually.
Yeah, you
Sometimes
see,
I just buy. Sometimes I'll just buy Dasani and use that. But I'm not using tap water. No, thank you. Ugh.
That whole conversation came flooding back to me just as you were reading that. I completely forgotten about water bars and Tim's disdain for
Well, those
what
are
a water
asinine.
bar could be.
Those are asinine. There's a difference between like plasticky garbage like Aquafina and the 25 most elite types of water. There probably isn't any distinction amongst those. In fact, there can't be. But yeah, the cheap stuff that Aquafina pumps out, yeah, that's garbage, of course.
But you like Dasani.
Dasani's great. Clean, crisp, efficient. I love it.
It is better than Aquafina.
It's
I'll
the
give him
same.
that.
How can water be efficient?
It's
the same.
How can
tastes-
foods be strong? I don't know.
These are under all like Cust parameters. All right, Italian cuisine. Tim proclaimed to be an expert on Italian cuisine, yet failed to know what balsamic olive oil was.
I think that was the same episode.
I never heard
You
of it.
just dipping your bread in malt vinegar? Last one. Tim demanded that all Christmas parties be, quote, high class with fancy attire. Yet he also requested food items to include chicken bone candies.
What are those things called that you go to again, Tim? Like the holiday
what
parties that take
Oh,
place
the
in the
New Year's
morning?
Day ones.
Oh, levies.
Levies.
New Year's Day levies. Those are not like something that's like brand new. Those are a long.
Yes, I
and-
know. They are very old, is what we came to realize.
And they're great.
I
think they'll probably not exist in 2021. I bet you they'll be canceled for New Year's Day.
Probably for the best.
That just occurred to me. That's gonna be awful.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expose those 80-year-olds to coronavirus, so no one else would be going except
There's
for
younger
you.
people in their 50s and 60s there too. It's not just elderly.
Yep. It's got to be water or olive oil.
The olive oil is pretty outrageous.
I think it has. Yeah, it's probably.
And
olive
then you
oil.
deep
And then he's
dive
never
like
been
his,
to a place that
his-
offers you oil to dip your bread in.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the
No,
craziest part.
that was a revelation for me.
insane. But when we deep dive this at the moment, I think he went on to tell us that like his big Italian eatery is a place called Pizza Delight or something.
Yeah. No.
So
this all goes back.
they
to
don't
the
offer
same-
him balsamic olive oil when he's
We were gonna go to Pizza Delight last night, but the owner of the franchise is now deceased and the place is closed.
Wow.
And whose favorite restaurant was that for Italian food, Tim?
It's amongst my favorites.
Andercurse.
It's not. It's no
Delight.
ESM.
It's called Pizza Delight.
But
It
this
sounds
all,
like
It's a
a
pizza
college town like pizza
It's fine.
joint
Like,
that
it's
might
fine.
have
It's
that.
a-
It's a
get pizza.
chain.
But this all goes
small
back
chain.
to his like,
Yeah, pizza
core
pizza's the
thesis that
best.
like Sparrow eating Italian food at a Sparrow or Sparrow
Because
is
they
as good as going
sell
to
the
Italy.
most volume, therefore they must be the best. Other than these like fancy bespoke versions.
Yeah, why would I
of
need to go to
the
Rome?
foods.
I've been to Sparrow.
Well, have you caught up on Tim's latest thing where he claims to have been a lot of places because he Google Maps them and walks the streets?
And
What
he's-
I said was, I can visit Marseille or visit Zurich by just going to Google Earth and walking the streets by clicking.
But you're a man
it's like
who
you're-
loves to walk. Like
Yeah,
actually,
not outdoors.
Did you not say your
It's-
favorite gelato joint in the mall closed down so you don't get that taste of Italy anymore?
That's a true statement. Coronavirus did it again.
No one has been more affected by coronavirus than Tim, as it turns out.
I was very concerned how many of my chains wouldn't make it.
Yes.
Yeah, but-
as everyone was concerned about big businesses.
I
Well,
thought
yeah,
Tim would
obviously it's a very
enjoy-
small drop in a big ocean, but it's still something I thought about.
I thought Tim was really enjoying Corona because I felt like it required everyone to take more of a shared experience that he always demands that we sort of endure together.
Yes, the monoculture of suffering. Also, it ruined
Well,
summer, which, you know.
I guess it reminded people who said there were no such thing as monocultures anymore that yes, indeed there is, and there
Yeah,
always will be.
it only took a pandemic. Cool.
You're right, but
You
there were
got a
people who
big
thought
check mark on that one.
I was right. I knew.
no, but it's just Mother Nature slapping people upside the head. Saying,
Yes.
if you think
Oh.
you know best.
20 million people are watching Big Bang Theory. Nature is healing.
So the winners of biggest Custradiciton at 16% strong tasting foods, at 27% what people deemed what sounds like the worst Christmas party of all time, and at 43% of the You gonna lose your DC there, Jeff?
I almost lost my precious DC sip out my nose.
Number one with 43% of the vote. No big surprise here. Tim's take on Italian cuisine. Finally, the final one, Custy, of the show. Best Cust Corner. Cust Corner 17, TV shows, winter driving, and the best of the year. You guys were both on multiples of these. Cust Corner 18, board game rankings, life hacks, raw hot dogs, weddings, and universal basic income.
I was on that one.
Cust Corner 19, toast, appetizers, Fortnite concerts, which have really become a thing, Tim.
Yeah, in my face.
Staying indoors, cooking with Pam. Cust Corner XX, shopping, buffet strategies.
Not such a thing anymore.
game shows and plane travel. A lot of
Yeah, a lot of
a lot of stuff really Andercursed out of
Can that
existence.
be
there.
the most Andercursed episode?
yes.
Cust Corner 22, VCRs, candy rankings, movie snack rankings, and the best months. I missed 21. Retro culture, living costs, water bars, and breakdancing in the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
23, Subway sub rankings, best cookies, computer hotkeys when Tim learned what Control Z was, party tips, and McDonald's. Cust Corner 24. Oh, this is a long one. Keto Cust, real versus fake Christmas trees, New Year's versus Christmas, holiday potlucks, the wind chill factor, best Christmas movies, and Secret Santa. Do you have any fond memories of those ones?
So many.
If there was a best of in there, I feel like we
man.
could do like 5.
Oh, wow. I think I'm just amazed. It's specifically that one episode, how cursed it's been by COVID. Just shopping, buffet strategy, and plane travel.
It's not like they're filming new game shows either.
No, that is true. Wow. I feel like I really enjoyed Fortnite concerts. I remember cooking with Pam. Obviously, that was a really fun episode. That also had toast in it, so a lot of the greatest hits in that one. Keto Cust, the whole Christmas episode, the levies, potlucks. That was a really good one.
Yeah,
too.
the party attire and stuff to serve it said fancy party, which was like
I'm right about that, by the way.
Where
You don't show up to a Christmas party in a t-shirt and a pair of track pants.
who shows up to a Christmas party in a t-shirt and a pair of track pants? I'm very genuinely
Saying
curious.
don't show up that way. Dress nicely.
So what you're
Yeah,
saying
but
is
Who
that
are you arguing with?
Yeah.
You know what? Someone
People
actually.
who don't dress nicely.
But
You know who you are.
Who do you know that you would be worried that you would have to let them know not to show up at your Christmas party in a t-shirt and sweatpants?
Also, when have
There
you
are-
ever hosted a Christmas party?
no to both.
I like
but
the
I've been to
toast,
Christmas
Fortnite,
parties.
indoor chills, cooking with Pam.
Cooking with Pam is pretty high.
Yeah.
That one I think will resonate on the voting.
Yeah, the Christmas party tips though about dressing as fancy as possible and then serving like the lowest possible food. It's like some sort of instead of a crappy sweater Christmas party, it's like crappy food Christmas.
You're saying there's something Kubrickian about it?
No, you want people to dress
It's
up.
exactly what it is, really.
You want people
really,
to dress up to the nines, but be served like Pillsbury all night.
Yeah. But Tim thinks that's really fancy though.
That's where I. Oh
It's
my-
like a version of what the president did when he
But
had
it's also-
Clemson come to the
he
White House and he
thinks-
fed them all Big Macs.
Yes, but you're not ironically doing that. That's also how you think. You
But
think like Trump. You are Trump.
But
Boom.
God, he thinks the Loblaws Superstore coming to town is fancy.
That's true.
Yeah,
But
how
it's
should one
billed
dress to go to a
as-
Loblaws?
It's
No, but we
literally-
have lots of Loblaws. This one is being sold as like a boutique, high-end Loblaws.
No, it's
like
a
you'd see in
superstore. It's
Toronto.
just enormous. There's nothing
No, we
boutique
have those
about
too,
it.
but this one is being specifically sold as like a boutique, like bistro style Loblaws. Like they're really putting all as the differentness.
I guess
of all
my
this.
confusion is you seem excited about this, despite the fact that you seem to actively hate everything about Toronto, always. But now you're
No,
excited
not
for this
everything.
store.
Just the most pretentious thing.
And you
So
don't
now
think,
you're,
like,
now
and
you're
you
talking
don't
about a
think
pretentious Toronto-based store.
A major grocery chain doing something isn't pretentious. Sorry, no, I don't think it is.
But the last time that you were on the show, you claimed the Metro on Front Street of being really bougie, despite having
Oh, it
never-
is. Well, when I visited it, it was really bougie.
The
Gary-
Metro is literally like
It's-
on the lower,
It-
like
Wait, the one by CSM?
Yeah, the one by my old place.
Yes, I visited it.
The one
get
by the
sna-
Rainbow Theater? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
went to
that's
go
a
pick up
high-class
snacks
part of
there.
town.
You step down these stairs and into the place. And
Yeah,
I
it's
was like,
underground. That should tell you all you need to know
The
about
one
it.
where A-Rap is banned because
Yeah,
he
he
stole
stole
candy?
So what do you think is the winner here?
I think the Cooking with Pam episode. It's just such a standout moment.
There were two that were very high up in the rankings. They were separated by 0.5 percentage
I
points.
also like the hotkeys and party tips.
That came in third, although it says that Cust Corner 22 is
Yeah, this cheat sheet we've got looks problematic.
it's
right
problematic because it has the same one coming in first and
now. One
third.
of them's probably XVII, and one's XXII.
Oh, are we having an Oscar scenario?
Yeah, we have a situation here.
Are the Custies cursed?
So it does say that Cust Corner 22 is coming third place, but also first place. I think the Cust Corner 23 is actually first place. So that's what I'm going to go with for these.
Okay.
So Cust Corner 22, third place with 16.6% of the vote. That was VCRs, Candy Rankings, Movie Snacks, and Best Months. Cust Corner 19 with 23.3% of the vote comes in second. That was Toast, Appetizers, Fortnite Concert, Staying Indoors, and Cooking with Pam. Number one would be 23, Subway Sub Rankings, Best Cookies, Computer Hotkeys, and Party Tips. That sounds like the winner.
Yeah.
I think I called that pretty right, that
Yeah,
category.
there
I
you
finally
go.
got something. Even though it seems like it's an unofficial win.
Yeah, we can't be sure.
It's like throwing a complete game in a 7-inning baseball game. I guess it counts, but not really.
Oh, you
Tim
have a fixed
also-
baseball?
confided to us this year that he does a lot of his like grocery shopping at like 7-Elevens and such.
That doesn't shock me.
Well, they have all the best brands. Only the best brands are served at 7-Eleven.
Because that happened
where the
because I
cashiers
was
are most willing to talk to him.
wondering why, like, who's making the decision to waste all this money on like a Monday night football game for 7-Eleven to advertise you could get like 4 colas for $3. Like that doesn't really even sound like great value. And then Tim let me know that's actually like targeted to him.
Yep.
And that's something he often takes advantage of.
Yep.
People like me are the target audience for those types of ads. Just be aware of that.
Idiots?
No, people who appreciate both quality and convenience.
But you won't use mobile ordering to your house. That's not
That's
convenient.
inconvenient
I
to me.
feel like many people would beg to differ.
Okay, well, that's fine. Let them beg and differ. That's not their
Apparently
show.
it's
This is
not
my
fine.
show.
Yeah, you seem to have a lot of problems with it.
You know, do what you want, but don't you look down your nose and tell me that I'm not doing it the right way. Like,
It's exactly what you do to everybody.
premise
When
of
I
the
eat
show.
an Oreo, when I eat a Kit Kat, you're always here to tell us we're doing it the wrong way.
I'm telling people what the right way is.
That will do it. On the third Custy Awards, you can find parts 1 and 2 up on Mayo Media Network. Subscribe to the Cust Corner audio feed. Leave a 5-star review when you're up there. I'd like to thank Paul from behind the camera. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks for having me.
And what's your favorite Cust moment from this year of Cust Corner? Can you remember?
I mean, I really enjoyed him shitting on the Bills, which drove us all the way to the playoffs, and then he jumped on. And
Yeah. Garion and Geoff, both in studio here. Might be the last time ever we're all in studio at the same time. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Weird.
This show seemed to be cursed towards the end, so anything can happen at this point.
Well, it takes us progressively. Like I think we did the first one in like March, and then it was in July. Now we're at the end of August. So we're just gonna miss a year at some point. It feels like. Anyway, I'd also like to thank me for hosting the show, and Tim. Guess who is making a special appearance to see you? Your good friend, the Coin. Hey! Say hi to the Coin.
I hate you.
Well, maybe Doug the Pug isn't the biggest rival. Maybe it's the Coin.
No one ever talks about the hat
Who knows?
anymore.
Well, the hat got
We
left.
talked about the hat the other day.
We did talk about that. That show hasn't come
What
out.
I
Fond-
loved about
fond
the hat
memories.
was the photo we used of you for the hat, which
too.
looked like your dog had run away. Like you were so forlorn and sad.
Tim seems to think the hat was a fair.
The hat was fair. The hat delivered equal justice to all without passion or prejudice. The hat was justice.
And then the Coin beat him in spread picks for the NFL. How he hates the Coin.
I hate that coin. I hate it almost as much as the Mr. Peanut stuff.
Or Doug.
Oh man.
Well, you mean the guy who can't even go to any football games because of
No
coronavirus?
one can go to any football.
No, they're making a
games.
special exemption for Doug for the first Titans game.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
They're not.
they are.
They're not.
They are.
They're not.
They are actually doing
Well,
that.
in a couple of weeks, when there's a Titans game in Nashville, you'll see that he's not there, and I will have been right.
Okay, Tim. You can continue to live your truth and be mad at a dog, but here we are.
Well, I don't. No point in being mad. Like
It sounds like you're
popularity-
pretty. You know what? It sounds like
popularity
you're
has come and
kinda
gone.
Sounds like
It's
you're
like being
pretty
mad at
triggered.
being mad at an
It's
evening
getting
newspaper.
movie roles.
Or
What do you
being
mean
mad
it's
at a phone
I know.
popularity?
Like-
Every year, Tim declares the popularity over for Doug, but now he's doing like brand. He's like a brand partner for automobiles. He's in movies. Doug's reported income last year was $17 million. What was yours? Well, that about solves it. I would like to thank Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
That's not my name. And again, I just want to assert that I object to this whole award ceremony, and they should be called the Top Cats. Leave it at that.
It's not a very good name. It's Custy.
Better. I don't like it.
People should go back and check out the old Custies. Smash the like button for the video and give us your biggest Andercurse for 2020. I'm Pat Mayo. I hope you all enjoyed the third annual Custy Awards. We'll see you next time.
That Mayo experience! Experience!